Okay, your own land. You use your own money to build it, and then you sell it to yourself.
But we don't want foreign troops on Kenyan soil.
But surely it goes a little bit deeper.
If you find the tree is withering, then you call the person who is managing that tree. Come around.
Yeah,
Why? Tell me what is
first of all, what's the problem?
Yes, what is the problem there?
How do we expect ourselves to move forward as a country?
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
If we just gloss over issues and hope that time heals, then we may find that in generations to come, we might be back at the same situation. And the whole thing is born of stolen elections.
Spice.
When it comes to the decisions you make, you must be independent. There's no way you can allow one institution to dictate to you how you're going to conduct your operations, how you're going to decide cases. It's a no.
When you weaken the institution to the point where they cannot take action, then you realize that politicians have to come up and now start dealing with the issues.
That conversation has to die. Our politicians do not like the hard stuff. We must insist on the path of doing things right, whether popular or unpopular.
Money changes hands. That is a fact. If you have political goodwill at the highest top, like in Rwanda, then corruption will be an issue of the past. If you don't have political goodwill at the top, we will pass laws, we will amend laws, we will continue passing laws and re-amending laws, and nothing will happen.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
He himself actually has admitted that he bribed members of parliament,
he admitted that he bribed members of parliament?
Well, when he said
The government.
Yeah, when he said that he gave the 10 million was for what?
We're always quick to point faults in somebody else before you look at your own faults as a person.
If it was Kanu's day, hii amuka naye leo ungekuwa umeenda bali sana hii. So and we must celebrate you.
There are 600 million people now globally estimated to be living with diabetes in the world. So it is a major health problem. It's the largest single disease rising pandemic that we're dealing with right now.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Good morning, and I love your show.
Thank you.
Having come from a Kikuyu radio background, I migrated to Spice because of the content.
I was born in a slum, but somehow I got a break in life. So sometimes when you see the sweating coming out because of the passion and whatever it is, behind the noise, there are people. And we share the same umbilical cord. It shouldn't be like that. I am so disappointed.
We used to tell Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga that he's doing politics of conmanship. And even President Uhuru Kenyatta, serikali hii ndio iko na conmanship ya hali ya juu. You cannot promise people that you reduce tax, then you double.
In politics, there is the issue of trust. For you to turn around and then stab the same people who gave you that trust, there is no other level of dishonesty. Imabo, utaona dunia tu.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Presidency is fairly interesting in the sense that it will actually take us to a new consciousness.
Swali zile watu waulizi na swali muuliza na shangala ni aje kwani huku kunaendaje?
30 billion shillings annually on travel alone in public service.
A Kenyan can even demonstrate every single day of his life that Ruto must go. That is the only message of his demonstration. That is his right.
That bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and subverts the cause of those who are in the right.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
One of the things that are in our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
SRC's mandate is constitutional. It's not an advice. It's actually something you must do.
Must do.
Like now you abandon, of course, the narrative of Wheelbarrow, Mutomjengo, Mamamboga, and all those, that rosy narrative.
Your expenditure is 3.3 trillion, and you're collecting only 2.5. Out of that 2.5, you're spending 1.8 trillion to service loans and so forth.
That the CDF kit, it's in itself a symptom of corruption.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
In this country, 6 families and 8,000 Kenyans control 90% of the GDP. We are not a country. We are a plantation. We work for Ruto.
When you're telling the judges court orders are papers or they will not obey court orders, they're sitting and you're seeking orders from them. So how are they supposed to interpret it? Isn't it an oxymoron?
When you see a judiciary that seems to be under some control somewhere, you start questioning. We have very powerful governors, but they don't use their offices to serve the people.
If you are not shameful to do what you are doing, why should we protect you?
I'm human. Everybody's human. So when you're told, kuja tuongee, I mean, you'd be a fool to say, stagi kuongea. Conversations have to be had, you know?
People in leadership should only go into leadership if they are ready and willing to change the lot of the people.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
If we just gloss over issues and hope that time heals, then we may find that in generations to come, we might be back at the same situation. And the whole thing is born of stolen elections.
Spice.
When it comes to the decisions you make, you must be independent. There's no way you can allow one institution to dictate to you how you're going to conduct your operations, how you're going to decide cases. It's a no.
When you weaken the institution to the point where they cannot take action, then you realize that politicians have to come up and now start dealing with the issues.
That conversation has to die. Our politicians do not like the hard stuff. We must insist on the path of doing things right, whether popular or unpopular.
Money changes hands. That is a fact. If you have political goodwill at the highest top, like in Rwanda, then corruption will be an issue of the past. If you don't have political goodwill at the top, we will pass laws, we will amend laws, we will continue passing laws and re-amending laws, and nothing will happen.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Hi. Ooh. Okay. Hi again.
How are you?
Hey.
Yes.
Yes.
It's the 9th of December.
It's the 9th of December. Oh, okay. Things are being stuck where they shouldn't be stuck. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's 9th of December already.
2025, yeah.
6:15, like a joke.
I know.
And here we are.
Here we are.
Wewe uko salama leo asubuhi?
Nashukuru bana.
Ni nini mbaya?
Why?
I'm just asking.
Hakuna.
Okay, sawa. You know, you can just be sure. Uko fresh kabisa. You're looking nice in pink.
Thank you.
You know what they say about men who wear pink?
Yes, bold. They're bold and sweet and nice.
Oh, okay. You're adding the things for yourself. I don't know if that's
what do they say though?
It's
from a woman's perspective.
It's still watershed.
Oh.
So yeah. What a skill. Okay. Well, salama lakini.
Ashkuru, man.
Oh, good to see you. It's already Tuesday. Like a joke, talked to some friends of mine in Tanzania yesterday, and everybody's saying, well, we're getting in. It's like we're hunkered down and we're not leaving the house tomorrow. Because even in as much as it's Tanzania Independence Day, the Prime Minister of Tanzania set out a statement yesterday, and he said, stay at home. It's a public holiday. We don't see anybody in the streets. Essentially, that's what they're saying, is that we see you in the street, we're going to have to take action.
Question is, how independent are you if you can't get out and enjoy the independence?
Yeah, because it's all being laced with the issues of people want to come out and protest that Tanzania is not really independent. So some people in some circles want to come out. The president came out and said, look, you guys don't come outside, because this is what we're saying. The prime minister then buffered that statement that she made and said, no, we're not coming outside today, guys. So it's just rumors that they might shut down the internet. This is all rumors that they might shut down the internet today. And up until about 4 a.m., still discussing with some friends of mine. So they are inside for fear of, they don't know what's going to happen. But it seems as though some folks might come out in protest. It's all a wait and see. It's looking into Tanzania and seeing what's happening there. But then also coming in here and looking at some of the things that are going on.
When you make all these decisions, does anyone ever just pause to think, why am I doing this? The people that I want to lead are communicating. Doesn't that just send messages on then how you get to react or respond to what your people are saying? Because remember, leadership is all about the people.
It is.
It's not about an office. It's not about an individual. But then again, maybe it's just Aseto speaking. Yep. Yeah, because if the people say no, what you do?
If the people say no, they say no.
Yeah.
Well, look, it is one to watch in terms of what may or may not happen. And so part of the conversations that we'll have today, of course, is leading into that just a little bit.
Sure.
So good morning, everybody. Karibuni sana. This is a Situation Room at 18 minutes after 6 o'clock, getting into conversations that we will have for today. Let me let you know what those will be. Aseto and Ndu here with you today, and we're getting into the conversation. And so our conversations today will be number one with the Principal Secretary, Medical Services, the Ministry of Health, Dr. Wuma Oluga. He joins us at 7 a.m. We'll be looking at the Kenya-US health deal and the state of healthcare in the country. What exactly does it mean? So let's open up and say, what did you guys actually sign off Kenyans for, if that's the case? Okay, so Dr. Oluga joins us at 7 o'clock. We're going to be following that conversation at 8 o'clock with Saitabao Ole Kanchori. He's a lawyer, but of course we know that he's, been in the political circles, and there are a lot of things that he said that seem to be coming true today. We'll have a conversation with him. What is the future of ODM? And finally, at 9 a.m., we'll talk with Joyline Aburi Omari, who is the head of programs at the KCB Foundation. The Njeri program enterprise development, the Njeri enterprise development program is still going. Let's find out how folks can get signed up for that, and also then what it has been doing in societies. Sawa, those are the conversations that we have for today. Thank you already for clicking in, as we do every day. Evie, good morning. Uko wewe salama. Yes, and Joyline, we see you. Good morning to you. Well done. Where are my pancakes? Continue playing with me. I'll show you, Pepe. Anyway, good morning. Who is on the socials today?
Flavier,
Flavier, good morning. We see you. Good morning. Karibu. Thank you. As we get into things today, just thank you so much for doing that with us. Sasa, unatupeleka wapi leo?
Tuko Yoruba. And the Yoruba people today are saying, this one is actually apt, and I think the leadership in the region should listen. Where you sit when you are old reveals where you stood when you were young.
Wow. There will be signs.
They will know.
They will know. Exactly.
Yeah.
How you speak later, how you carry yourself. And it's not just about your gait, but also in terms of the things that you think and you speak and how you express yourself.
Yeah.
It shows where you're coming from. I guess we are the sum of all our experiences. Yeah. And we express that later on. It shows the things that we've been through, the things that we've believed, and the things that we've done over our lifetime. So yeah, it's a compilation of all of that. Yeah, the consummate sum of all of our experiences is then how we speak later on, I guess.
You know, I look at it in terms of leadership in the sense that, just an example, Kenya, 2 terms, right?
Yeah.
If you manage to get the 2 terms, right?
Yeah.
After that, then it will form a basis upon which how you will be remembered and how you will be quoted by several other governments to come.
Yeah.
Today we say Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew and what he did. What he did when he was young, right? You know, like that time when he was the president.
Yeah.
Today forms basis upon which the country's foundation is built upon.
Right.
Question is, are other leaders, when they are young, when they are in this government, putting in place foundations that will outlast their generation?
Itakuwa hivyo?
Ama itakuwa ni, don't be like that guy.
Which guy? Even though leo umeamua itakuwa sawa basi.
Yeah, so yeah.
It's good for real. And that's what we're looking at this morning. Okay. Many people already tuned in this morning, and let's just say hello to you, because you know, EVE says that some people maybe didn't hear earlier, so like you should start telling them from in the next 8 minutes about how they can buy bundles for 19 bob or 45 bob.
Proper.
Sindio? All right. But wacha tusalimia watu kwanza. Okay, so Ndu ask Aseto, is he sure? You.
Yes.
Are you sure that we will have EACC, that we still have EACC? If yes, where is it? Well, incidentally, they released a report yesterday.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that means. When did he last hear of them and on what? Okay, I'm answering the question on your behalf. But yeah, you're asking. You are being asked on what, and does it bite? All those questions.
Hey,
yeah.
When did I see it? I see it every day as I go home, because their building is just on my right-hand side along Valley Road. When did I hear about them? During the by-elections. Did they bite? I didn't see.
Yesterday they were on your TV, if you watched it, and they were releasing a report about you know, the state of things in the nation, and the chairman as well as the CEO were there. Tawa. Then he greets us. We are fine, thank you.
Kabisa.
Agutu Ogembo says, good morning to everybody. Good morning to you. Robert Tobogo is tuning from Mombasa. Kiaria Peter says, if you miss an opportunity, do not cloud your eyes with tears. Keep your vision clear so that you don't miss the next one. Kabisa. Desmond Oti says, good morning. Lydia, EVE, Ndu, and Dennis watching from Muhanya Beach in Bondo. Good morning to you. Okay. Leo says, good morning. Hello, Princess Ndu and Aseto. The deal with the US people will choose. Hey, okay. Punctuation sometimes. What they want to believe and hear. Okay, I'm not sure, but okay, Leo. And hear what's said by others than what the administration is saying without details in public. Okay, I get what you're saying. So what we're going to do is put it out in the public and push to hear those answers. And it's interesting that you say that, because Dr. Uma will be here with us at 7. Byron Nick says, good morning from Maseno. It's Tuesday again. If you're ready to try the tree of opportunity, it bends towards you. Good morning, Kenya. Good morning to you. Listening from Rongo, very dry weather, Georgia Demo says. And good morning, guys, says Eric Owar. Excuse me. A very good morning to Dennis and Ndu. Blessed day ahead, says Rose Grace. Good morning to you. Aaron Rashid says, good morning, Spice family. Good morning, Kabisa. Good morning from Preston in the UK. It's December 9th. It's the day for our neighbor. What does that mean? Okay. It's Ronnie's birthday. You know Ronnie? You don't know Ronnie?
Yeah.
It's Ronnie's birthday. Happy birthday, Ronnie. And good morning, dear Spice family. Rogers Lai says, Sabal Herinyote, good morning to you. And Rahim Tula Omar says, Ndu, green really suits you. Why, thank you very much. Actually, interesting, my favorite color. Newton Massey says, good morning, watching from Mount Elgon. Good morning to you. Dolly Luck says, good morning, Spice. Asante Sana. Sohra says, they fear what the world saw in Nairobi. Vurugus, do not blame them. What? Give some context to this. At the very least, I don't know. Do you?
Vurugu. It's just the demos that were experienced in Nairobi.
Oh,
yeah,
so we're talking about
is
Tanzania.
Afraid of,
you see what I'm saying? At least land the thing first. In Tanzania, we can start with in Tanzania. They like this. Bas. Okay. Yeah. Godfrey Anzala says, good morning, Team Spice. Aseto. See Aseto. Aseto. There's no W in his name, but you know, that sounds interesting.
You know, that actually isn't Aseto, that's Asuito.
Asuito, this one.
So sweet. Asuito. Asuito means it's a low slang for someone who's sweet. So yeah.
You see this guy, what he has done now this morning? Sawa basi. If you take it like that, no wahala. Keeps changing hairstyles. Did you change the hairstyle? You didn't change the hairstyle.
You
just cleaned it
up
a bit. We like this one. Don't change it. Anyhow, so he's saying Men in Pink. Anyhow, we called in Atlanta, but keeping it live, glued in on how TZ is going to roll today. Kento says, good morning. Aseto, sasa wewe uko na pressure leo. Organize mbuzi ya Christmas bara.
No pressure. I live close to an abattoir, so
Sindo, you can do like that. Okay, basi.
Unaishi wapi kwanza?
Unaniuliza ama?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, I thought, okay.
Yeah.
Rahim Sula Omar goes on to say, the seeds you sowed in youth are the fruits you reap in the old ages. That's true. Amajay says, good morning. We need the PS to explain the data sharing agreement. When will we see the separate agreement? It's a question we will ask. Sasa Ndu, Sasa Deno, please pokeni baraka leo. Asante sana mtu fulani. Good morning to you. Tumepokea kabisa. Mukuho says, good morning. Have a great day, Team Spice. Thank you so much. Owino says, can you boost the radio signal in Bomet and the Kericho area? We boost. All right. We'll talk to them. Rogers Nyanga says, good morning, tune in from Birikani in Voi. Samuel says, good morning, tune in from Voi as well. Okay. Hilary Chariot is saying good morning. And good morning from a very cold Saudi Arabia, Team Spice, says Joe Gemma. Good morning, Team Spice, tuned in from Mai Mahu, says Paul Dete. And Kimathi and Kruma McConnell, Spice is very nice. The revolutionary journalism of at your fingertips. You've put ginger tips. We can go with that as well. John Burrow says, good morning, Team Spice. We are safe in Juba, South Sudan. Always happy to hear your voices every morning. You make my day in a foreign land. Asante sana. Thank you so much. Calvin Omondi says, good morning. Thank you. And I wish you a wonderful Tuesday ahead. Thank you for being here, brother. Kahiho Kinyua says, good morning, tuning from Mombasa. May we rise today with the courage democracy demands. Democracy doesn't like cowards, indeed. Pare says, good morning, Sugar and Spice team and everything. The sun rises in Nairobi, the city in filth. Power morning to the world-class panel. Asante sana, everybody joining us this morning. Thank you so much for doing this every morning as you do. And we'll get into some conversations this hour after Aseto tells us about 19 and 45.
Yeah, so when you hear 19, just know it's 1 hour. You hear 45, just know it's 3 hours. But of what exactly? Of unlimited fun bundles by Airtel. You know, Airtel is out here telling you can enjoy unlimited data at an affordable price. But how do you get it? Star 544 hash or go to your My Airtel app where you get to have an opportunity to buy these bundles. If you're not yet converted to Airtel, go to your nearest Airtel shop, get yourself a SIM card, and not only just be connected to the data, but also to the strongest network in the country. You know, so as we talk about Airtel is here telling you, you know, most of the time, because you want to enjoy quality of life, it's Christmas season. You know, like ballads, Bonnie M's are now streaming their music and you're listening to that. And as you travel, you want to enjoy it. Don't miss out on these opportunities because you do not have enough data bundles. You know, there's limited data, but Airtel is telling you unlimited data bundles. I don't want you to miss out on that. You know, I don't want to miss out on that. Neither should you. So where do you go again? Star 544 hash or your Airtel, My Airtel app.
On your Google Play Store.
Google Play Store. Download it.
Fantastic.
And be part of this conversation.
Yeah, you don't need to live in FOMO.
No.
Absolutely not. Just get in and it'll be really easy from there on out. That's where we are, and getting into things this morning. Let's look into the headlines. And I know that folks are streaming in. If we didn't get to your comments, please just leave it there anyway, and we'll come into that later. But we do see them, and thank you. Our audience on KTN, good morning. And those who are tuning in on your way to business and work today, or just sitting listening to be part of Discourse, Karibuni Sana. Let's look into the headlines. And on the front page of Kenya's bold newspaper, The Standard, the ID scandal drum roll. Thank you very much. The arrest of 26 suspects in a fast-growing citizenship for sale racket has added fresh urgency to concerns that President Ruto's decision to scrap security vetting for ID applicants in northern Kenya and other border counties has opened a dangerous loophole. Critics who warned the decree would be exploited now feel vindicated as racketeers, rogue clerks and middlemen collude to dish out Kenyan nationality at a fee. Yani, if you have enough money, unaweza pata ID leo.
Yeah, citizenship.
Investigators say Northeastern has emerged as one of the biggest beneficiaries of the fraud, with criminal networks exploiting the relaxed rules to slip foreigners through the system and undermine national security. Ooh-wee. The inserts there are pictures of Jawahir Muhammad Muse, is an Isle North Assistant Chief. She's there. Muhammad Isaac Gidao is an Isle Assistant Chief. David Kurir, Registrar of Persons Head Office. Mulid Yusuf Dige, businessman. Judy Kemunto Ondari, Registrar of Persons in Bakassi. Abdul Rashid Muhammad Ali, a clerk at the Shima Group International. Ruth Osebe Sukuru is a Registrar of Persons at Kamakunji. Jeffrey Makoro Mutani, Clerk of Immigration Head Office. These are amongst the suspects. And to imagine, well, usually they say that if you're going to usually look at the closest person, who are the people issuing these IDs, usually they're invested or involved in that racket. We're going to look into this story, because if this is what's happening, what's going to happen in 2026?
Just want to ask a crazy question. A businessman, what kind of business? Dishing out IDs.
Yeah. Can you imagine how much money he's made if suspected, allegedly? Imagine how much money he's made, and what are they charging? What's the going rate for an ID today?
$1 million. Yeah.
Kenya shillings, Bob.
Are you surprised?
If you have $1 million shillings,
because then you have an
by
ID.
the end of the day, you can do anything. You have access to the country.
You know, you look at an ID, but look at what comes with an ID. So that is a birth certificate. Now you have a birth certificate. That also means that you have access to a passport. You have a passport. You're able to leave this country as a Kenyan. It is easier to leave the country as a Kenyan. So it is not just the ID. You look at the entire journey.
Where you guys?
And then, you can even find your details at Kenyatta National Hospital, being where you were born.
Yeah.
So,
I could have, if I have $1 million shillings today, I could have been born in Nairobi Hospital.
Yeah.
I could have been born in,
Yeah, it's a chain.
Yeah, okay. I was born in Murtala Mohammed Hospital. Okay.
Yeah.
First ever Kajasea exam results put new school curriculum to the test. Let's see what the results look like, because they'll be out just before Christmas. We'll see. Another story in the headlines today, in making the headlines, the nephew of DIG Masengeli charged in alleged 2.5 million shilling fake police jobs. You can't make this stuff up, man.
Just say who Masengeli is again.
He's a DIG. He's the guy who they told him, come to court 1, no please. Come to court 2, no thanks. Come to court 3, come to court 4, nana. Come to court 5, no please. Come to court 6, no. Come to court 7, Your Honor, I beg you. And on the same day, suspects have been found dumped somewhere.
Your Honor, see, I'm here, but the guys wamepatikana, why am I here?
It's that guy. Now, apparently his nephew, which is the son of his sister or brother, is in alleged 2.5 million. I told you, you see this thing for IDs? The people who are defrauding the people are the people who work in the office.
Yeah.
So now, the people who allegedly are collecting money for jobs are also in the police.
Do you know how this guy was actually swindling people? By the name Masengeli.
He was using the uncle's name.
Just the name.
Yeah.
I can connect you. What you mean? I'm Masengeli.
Masengeli is
the DIG
my senior uncle.
Is my senior uncle. Woni tunafanana?
Acha naweza kumpigia sahi.
Yeah.
Then
Uncle.
maybe there's a guy called Boda guy. Then you change his name in the contracts to Uncle.
Yeah, Uncle.
Kumbe, you're talking to your Boda guy. Look.
Yeah.
Sheesh. Hey. All right. Saudi envoy not immune from prison in labor abuse row, according to the court. It's an interesting story. Christian lobby group rejects sexuality bill over risks to children. The African Christian Professionals Forum has called for the immediate suspension of the East Africa Community Sexual and Reproductive Health Bill 2024. They want the bill halted until partner states complete constitution alignments and conduct meaningful national consultations. Well, good luck, because that looks like it's going to take a while.
Because the question is now, what happens if a specific country has actually aligned itself to the constitution? Then can that country continue?
I wonder if it requires consensus across board in order for it to be executed. Because what we're saying is that if adopted, the bill will introduce comprehensive sexuality education in schools and approach health and policymakers say could reduce early pregnancy, sexual and gender-based violence, and equip learners with accurate information about sexuality.
I think that is an individual country's problem.
But if I tell you what I think, let me tell you something. We are here burying our heads in the sand, and we're saying that, oh, no. We shouldn't be teaching sexuality in schools because it exposes children to risks early. Guess what? You don't do it, you're still exposing children to risks early. You're not talking to them about this thing. You're going to have conversations with them when they've already figured it out by some backwoods explanation somewhere from some friend who watched some crazy movie on TV. Wouldn't you rather tell your children at the beginning the truth? But
the moment a child knows their sexuality, it's about time we start having that conversation.
We don't like to face things. If a child when we were growing up, maybe you say 15, 16, the mean age for children who are coming into any knowledge of sexuality today is 9. And then here we are saying, no, you shouldn't be discussing it. I beg, wait first.
I remember growing up, and there's this meme in Kenya that once after news, there was that famous, it was a sequel, The Bold and the Beautiful. And after that, every child was told to go sleep because The Bold and the Beautiful was meant for adults. Just that alone, a child becomes curious.
They'll go and watch it.
And they'll start asking questions. So how about that conversation started then? Because we've already created the curiosity in them.
There are ways in which you can curate these conversations for children, but the basic knowledge and information, I think, is necessary. The politics and perils of relaxing vetting for IDs in northern Kenya is that big story there. We'll look into it. Police smashed Kenyan citizenship sale syndicate and suspects have been arrested. They were arrested. It's interesting. So we'll look into that in a bit. I'm just looking through the pages of the Standard this morning as we wait for those other ones to come. Tanzania marks Independence Day amid youth fury and protests. Independence Day in Tanzania will not be celebrated in the public, according to the government, and they've asked people to stay home. Others are saying, nana. There is a picture on page 7 of Justice Mumbi Ngugi, and the Court of Appeal rejects push for a bigger budget share for judiciary. They said no. That's interesting. Why? Leaders demand release of suspects of the Ikolomani mining clashes. And they're saying, you know what? Let them go. Parliament seeks public views on Safaricom stake sale amid outcry. So we need to be very clear that the stake that wants to be sold here is the government share in Safaricom. Okay? Government wants to sell that to willing buying seller. Abi?
Yep.
All right. EACC, there it is, Don Sabwa, recovers 3.4 billion shillings and boasts of a major anti-graft gains in report. They released that yesterday. Battle for former police chief estate rages on. Judge refuses to step aside. And so those stories continue. We're going to keep looking into them. And that's what it looks like. And we'll look into some of these stories. We're looking into the business on the Standard. State invites public views on new tax amid criticism. I really wonder, when you invite public views, are you doing it because the Constitution demands that you do, or do you really want to know what Kenyans think about this thing that you want to do, and that you will take their views into consideration? I'm just asking for a friend.
Me too.
Okay. Sindo? Yeah, those are some of the things that we're looking at. Then we can start to look into some of these stories in detail. You want to go, sir?
Yeah, so there is this story here on IEBC. I think I'll just start with that, where Ethicon has played free, fair 2027 elections despite violence fears.
He did what?
Yeah, he's played free, fair 2027 elections.
Okay.
Yes, and this is what it says. The Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission has assured Kenyans that it is putting in place all necessary structures to deliver a free and fair 2027 general election. IEBC Chairperson Erastus Ethekon said the recent 24 by-elections across the country provided the new commissioners with valuable experience. He emphasized that the commission is open to constructive criticism that can help improve its operations. Speaking at a stakeholders engagement in Nairobi, reviewing the by-elections, Ethekon lauded the role of security personnel, election observers and the media in ensuring a smooth process. The IEBC was allocated 798 million shillings for the by-elections, covering procurement of election materials and recruitment of election officials. This, he says, enabled them to conduct the exercise successfully despite some minor challenges. However, various political leaders raised concerns of a rising political thuggery, claiming the National Police Service, in some cases, colluded with goons to intimidate opposition candidates. Democracy for Citizens Party DCP Deputy Leader Cleophas Malala said the IEBC should not ignore issues already in the public domain, noting that political thugs were working with security officials to terrorize opponents. Malala added that 12 incidents, including attacks involving former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, were reported, but no action was taken, warning that failure to address such acts could lead to violence during the general election. And Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja assured Kenyans that the National Police Service is committed to neutrality, promising timely interventions to ensure political goons are eliminated. Underline, political goons are eliminated. We will not allow thuggery to thrive under our watch. All stakeholders must play their role to guarantee a free and fair election.
Okay.
So here is a question. You know, it is goons. You've called them political goons and thuggery. That means you already have basis upon which to start your investigations. You know, by now, instead of giving statements, one would have hoped that the political goons that you say, these politicians would have been summoned, investigation would have been started, and at least a few people would have been arrested. You know, I have a problem with every other time it is statements after statements after statements. Because the political thuggery and goonism that we saw during the by-elections is something that started during the campaign period.
That's true.
By now, we should have had some movement in terms of investigation, arrest, and people being arraigned in court.
You know what? Kenya's police service has intelligence.
It is.
And they're actually good at what they do.
They are.
Very, very good at what they do. Leave alone this thing that you see the picture of maybe cops taking bribes on the highway, whatever. No. In the work of police work, Kenya Police Service is actually, the National Police Service is actually very good at what they do. They have the intelligence, they do the follow-ups, they know all of that. They're quite worth their mettle. So then, having said that, it makes it difficult for me to comprehend that goons, you can rent a goon. I'm looking at a post. In my head, I can see a poster. Rent a goon. Call 1-800-GOON. You know, I can see that. But you mean to tell me that you don't know who they are and who hires them and who pays them? For me, it's all about desire.
Yeah.
And I listened to Douglas Kanja yesterday, and he said, not on my watch. He said, not anymore. This is not going to happen anymore. How about you take control of the folks who've done it in the most recent past?
Yeah.
The church in Kariobangi North just 2 Sundays ago.
True.
How about you take control of that? The people who came into Nairobi and did some nonsense, how about you take care of that? You know who they are.
You know who they are. I mean,
you know who they are.
We even have video footage of the gentleman who beat up MP Kaluma in Kasipul. That is video footage that is there for you to review and arrest the person. I mean, it's easy for you to even get other people who were with Kaluma, and definitely through investigation, they will pinpoint you to the person.
So, I mean, it sounds good. It sounds good in a forum when you're very vehement and you say that, yes, not on my watch. Then we look at when you take it for serious. But then how about you? It is by your fruits that we will know you. The things that you say today are a consummate sum of the things that you have done before. So when you're telling people that I will not under my watch ABCD, people are going to look at you and think, which one goon has been arrested in the last 1 year? One. So if you've not, I'm not even talking about the last 5 years. I'm saying this last year, 1. So what that would do is that it would give people the confidence to believe you then when you say that not on your watch will these things happen again. If you've not even arrested, okay, Sawa, half a goon.
Yes.
Okay, arrest the goon's leg.
You know,
remove his hat and say we have his hat.
We're dealing with a police service. So again, we remember how this police service was so swift and so good at investigating the murder of former MP Ongondowere. You understand? By reviewing each step, CCTV footage and everything. That very same police service can deal with these people very well and bring them to book.
No, man.
But yeah, it is, we know.
You can.
So even our EBC itself, in terms of conversation it's having with all the other agencies to ensure that the elections are free and fair is really important, because then we are told that security officers who are then seconded to IEBC go and become under the control of IEBC. So then how is IEBC working to ensure that these officers at that point at the polling stations get to do their job? And how then, what's the communication in terms of extra security that will help IEBC do their job? These are conversations we have.
See, in school, every system is different, right?
Yeah.
But why do you think people do mocks? When you do a mock exam, it serves 2 purposes. Number 1, to get you to have an idea of what the exam is going to look like.
Yes.
And then also to gauge your competence at that point, whether you are up to scratch for what the exam is going to give, because it mirrors what the exam is going to be in the future. So if you took the mock and you scored 13%, maybe it was a cold day, maybe you are tired, maybe you whatever, then you're going to take another one.
Yes.
So by then we will have gotten all your ducks in a row. And then if there you now scored 11%, the people who will be saying, okay, well, it's possible that we'll take an average of the 2. That's why you do them. So now you cannot come and tell me that, you know what, Teacher Dennis, I know I scored 13 and I scored 11. However, I'm going to get 95 in the final exam.
It's a lie. It's a lie. What miracle?
I say no more. I say no more.
But then again, you see, we've done enough mocks. How many elections have we had? Those have been mocks for IEBC. Whatever they do with that information is up to them.
They had a stakeholders meeting yesterday. Martha Karua left here and went there yesterday, where they were talking about how we will do to Tatenga, to Maneno. It's good, please do. And I think it's important that you come and give people these outward expressions of your inward intention, but you actually have to get it done.
Yeah.
It's too critical a process for us to joke around with it. Now, let me tell you this story about the politics and perils of relaxing vetting for IDs in northern Kenya. All right? It is a big deal, so stay with me. When President William Ruto announced the scrapping of the 60-year-old vetting requirement for issuing national identity cards in northern Kenya, many in the region breathed a sigh of relief. For generations, residents of the northeastern counties of Mandera, Wajir, Garissa, Isiolo and Marsabit had faced obstacles, not only accessing basic government services, but also in asserting their identity as Kenyans. Until yesterday, local leaders in Garissa and other parts of the region hailed President Ruto for removing the requirement for locals to access national IDs, saying it was discriminatory and unnecessary. Kenya Livestock Marketing Council Dubat Abi chairman said the Somali community is part and parcel of the country, having taken part in not only liberating it, but also making tangible contributions since independence. He then went on to say, and I quote, "We support President Ruto for what he did. Vetting was discriminatory, only targeting specific communities to put hurdles in getting national IDs," he said. Ame, a prominent leader, said Kenya cannot be talking of uniting the country when some sections of it subjected to vetting, which he termed as unnecessary and so exploitative. He cited prominent Somali personalities such as General Mohammed, who halted the 1982 coup attempt during President Daniel Arap Moi's reign, and Isaac Hassan, former Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission chair, who have contributed immensely in Kenya's growth, adding that the Somali community have contributed so much to be subjected to vetting. So this goes on, and they talk about the fact that civil society have been in the forefront of advocating for the removal of
the vetting process.
He says they say you cannot use vetting as a prerogative to bar genuine Kenyans from getting IDs. Unfortunately, foreigners used to get IDs even with vetting in place. This is according to what they told the Standard yesterday. So this story goes on, where then on the next page, police smash Kenyan citizenship sales syndicate and suspects have been arrested. The recent arrest of 26 people has lifted the lid on how rogue government officials are colluding with civilians to sell Kenyan citizenship to foreigners. Behind the document identity racket are the registrar of persons, no less, clerks, immigration officials, administrative officers, businessmen and brokers who aid aliens, some with ill motives, to fraudulently become Kenyans. Emboldened by the government's decision to relax vetting during the national identity card application process, the racketeers sometimes sell the Kenyan citizenship for a song. For as little as 100,000 shillings, a foreigner is able to acquire Kenyan nationality, compromising systems through bribery. And this has been made much easier following presidential decree that eliminated the vetting process. In February, President William Ruto signed a proclamation abolishing vetting for individuals seeking ID cards in northern Kenya and other border counties. While signing this proclamation on registration and issuance of IDs to border counties at Orahe grounds in Wajir town, Dr. Ruto termed the practice unjust and disenfranchising. Now, this latest operation, coming against the backdrop of similar arrests in the past few weeks, vindicates those who initially opposed the presidential proclamation on grounds it failed to clearly spell out safeguard measures against fraudsters who might take advantage of the decree to compromise national security. And that was in February. We are now in December, 11 months later, and we already see that the racket is doing business proper. 1 million shillings is the highest price Somalis and other foreigners are paying to acquire Kenyan identity documents such as IDs, passports, and birth certificates. So now it has become business. Yeah. How much do you have? Kuja, chukua, ID, passport, go. Birth certificate, no problem. Because the vetting rules, zimeshuka, crime ime
panda. You know, my folks come from I come from a border county, right?
Yeah.
Migori. But I was born and raised in Eldoret. But when I was going through getting my ID, I went through the vetting process. You know, so it has been painted. I understand when Kenyans from border counties go through vetting and how difficult a process it is. But I also look at why that was put in place, you know. And that also goes to speak in terms of our processes in ensuring that those who get these vital documents are Kenyans, you know. So it is the question of which documents must you have for you to get an ID, you know. And if that is the process, then can we trust individuals in office to look at these documents and say, this one is authentic, this one is fake, and therefore you are not eligible to get the ID? That is just based on individuals who are in these offices. And the reason why we have extra vetting is because this vetting is held by the chiefs, you know, wazee wa mtaa. You know, individuals who are at the local level who are able to sieve through you and even your grandparents and their lineage and all these things, because they are part and parcel of that process. And that made it easier to just sieve through and find out who is Kenyan and who is not.
If
this information, I think if the vetting process had been packaged such that Kenyans understood, such that it is not a disservice to those who come from the border counties, then Kenyans would have wanted to be part of the process to help them get these IDs, get all these documentations easier and faster. Problem is, those who are also given the opportunity of being in these vetting panels took advantage of those processes to do what again? To make money.
Yeah. I think also that it's very clear that it's not just those who live in the northern part of the country that were were subjected to this vetting, just like you said. And that other people around the country, border districts, you said, had to go through the vetting process because of the fact that you live in an area that is bordered by another country. Yes. And so, of course, the questions are, because we know what it's like, border towns, people pass back and forth.
No man's land.
No, I mean, come on. So it was not just, it has been touted to seem as though it was just the Somali community. Yeah. That's not the case.
That's not the case.
It's across border. It was for everybody. And so when you open up the doors, this is what happens. Yeah. And that's what we're seeing now.
Yeah, because I remember during that process, I was asked for my parents' ID. Mm-hmm. I took the ID. Yeah. They asked for my dad. I took my dad. My dad answered questions behind his ID in terms of where he came from and all those things, and responded, and I got my ID. So I just feel that if that's the process that every person from the border community goes through, it is easy to respond to all those questions and you get your ID. But how have we packaged the vetting process, especially from people, especially from Northeastern, because then there is the aspect of the Al-Shabaab, terrorism and all that. Has it been, so the vetting in northern part of the country and vetting, say, in Migori County, is it the same? You know, do we have the same vetting process in all these border counties?
That's interesting.
So that is another way of looking at it, because then you'd find the vetting process as well was never uniform. Hence, the regional people from the northern part of the country are feeling disenfranchised by the process.
I hear you on that.
Yeah,
that's for sure. All right, you want to look at another story?
Tanzania marks Independence Day and youth fury and protests. Tanzania marks its 64th Independence Day today under a dark, unprecedented cloud. For the first time, there will be no celebrations, only protests. The nation braces for a wave of anti-government demonstrations aimed at President Samia Suluhu Hassan's disputed re-elections, a 98% landslide that the opposition has repeatedly denounced as a choreographed coronation rather than a democratic contest. Now, in a move widely seen as an attempt to choke off unrest, President Suluhu's administration quietly scrapped the national festivities, even as police declared the planned demonstrations illegal and warned of firm action. What does firm action really mean? Now, the United Nations Office for Human Rights, however, cautioned Tanzania against excessive use of force, reminding authorities of their obligations to uphold freedoms of expression and peaceful assembly. Tanzania authorities have issued a strict advisory for citizens to remain indoors today, except for those offering essential services. Now, Chadema's Tundu Lissu, the main opposition challenger, continues to face treason charges after surviving brutal assault at pro-opposition rallies. To date, scores of young people remain imprisoned, while dozens of families search in vain for missing relatives, with some forced to bury symbolic graves marked by clothing or a single shoe. The truth is simple. These protests are entirely organic. They are driven by ordinary citizens who are dissatisfied with bad leadership and demanding change. That is according to Geva Lienda, who is Chadema's head of information. Yes. So national celebrations, Hakuna. So an entire national celebration has been cancelled simply because the government is afraid of dissent.
Yes. Yes.
You know, even when you're number one, those who are behind you always want to be number one. All you have to do is continue to do better to maintain that position. But it is not a guarantee that you will maintain it. Dissent is part of the process across the world.
True. True. The intrigues, the layered intrigues that are going on in Tanzania at the moment would either have a stain or an uplifting on President Samia Suluhu's administration. And what it looks like right now is that if you're going to instill a spirit of fear amongst the people, then the likelihood of them talking about a free space for which democracy thrives then is really wanting, and they have many question marks surrounding it. But that sometimes I sat and I wondered to myself yesterday, in her inner sanctum, what is she thinking at this point? That this is not expected in her administration, but it's happening, and it's happening today. Well, it's one to watch, and let's see. Takes us to 7 o'clock, folks. Conversations coming your way after this. Good morning.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is the news wire. I'm Leo Obanga. The government has released the full report of the new health sector partnership framework signed between it and the United States. The Ministry of Health has announced that the framework, which formalizes a long-term partnership in the health sector, demonstrates the government's commitment to transparency and accountability in building resilience in this vital sector. On December 4th, Kenya and the United States signed the health partnership framework, making Kenya the first country in Africa to enter into an agreement with the U.S. Under the agreement, the U.S. will invest directly in the health sector, providing 208 billion shillings over the next 5 years under the new framework. The funds will be channeled directly to government institutions, eliminating the involvement of third parties to ensure they achieve their objectives. Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission Chairperson Erastus Ethekon has stressed that it is currently very difficult for anyone to steal votes in elections in the country. Speaking during a conference to assess the results of the November 27th by-election, Ethekon stressed that the IBC has used modern methods to close all loopholes for voter fraud in any election.
You want to secure an illegitimate victory. Then you must have a leader. And the manner in which you secured your victory is questionable. So there were those attempts. And I will not mince my words. So again, we have to do something about that. That desperation that makes people attempt the impossible. And it's high time political actors learn. Where is the chairman of PPLC? Yes, my friend Misati. Train your people that to steal election in this country is an impossibility. These returning officers here can confirm to you, even observers, honest observers will tell you, the media that witnessed these by-elections, it's impossible.
Regarding the November 27th by-election, Ethekon reported 99% efficiency of the KIEM's equipment, admitting that there were attempts to disrupt the election.
The result forms in that public results portal, and Kenyans who cared, Kenyans who are following keenly, were able to access those results in a timely manner. So as I said, the security minimized incidences of disruption, and generally the exercise went on smoothly. Of course, we as IBC also suffered some incidents in the course of those incidences in places like Mbere North, Kasipul, Narok Town, Kabuchai Chwele, Malava, Nyansiongo, Kerenyo, and Fafi. There were incidences where even our poll officials, our officers were assaulted.
The IBC chairman has further accused some leaders of allegedly instigating voter intimidation at some polling stations.
Yeah, we had super agents. Most of them were sitting members of parliament or senior politicians in opposition. And the challenge around this super agency business is that when these people show up in a small polling station in Nyansiongo, Kerenyo or something, they overrun the polling station because they will come in accompanied by their so-called supporters.
And finally, the Kenyan Human Rights Commission has called on the National Environment Management Authority to immediately suspend the environmental and social impact assessment process for the proposed Ikolomani gold mine by Shanta Gold following a violent public participation session on December 4th. KHRC said the forum, intended as lawful civic engagement, degenerated into intimidation, chaos and impunity, targeting citizens whose only intention was to demand respect for their rights and freedoms. The commission expressed alarm over reports of deaths, injuries and arbitrary arrests, describing the incident as part of a broader trend in Kenya's extractive sector, where communities advocating for accountability are often met with force and procedural manipulation. KHRC also criticized NEMA for failing to ensure a transparent and secure public participation process. That's the News Wire. I'm Leah Obaga.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
We look at the utterances of leaders who are aligned to broad-based, who were initially in ODM. We thought they stand for something. Now they've been exposed.
Because we are a third world country, we are poor. And not because we don't have resources, but we have been robbed senseless.
Look at the wasteful expenditure. Look at how large government lives. And we've said this is something that can be controlled. It happens in many other countries.
Internally, we used to stand and tell him, boss, hii kitu ni mbaya. And you'd say, now he doesn't let me tell you, you saw the other parliamentary group meeting, people went there, sat, listened, looked at him, there was no plenary, left.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
You have land, Dennis. Yeah. Okay, your own land. You use your own money to build it, and then you sell it to yourself.
But we don't want foreign troops on Kenyan soil.
But surely it goes a little bit deeper. This is it.
If you find the tree is withering, then you call the person who is managing that tree. Come around.
Yeah,
why? Tell me what is
Well, first of all, what's the problem?
Yes, what is the problem there?
How do we expect ourselves to move forward as a country?
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
It's 7 minutes after 7 o'clock and getting into conversations this morning. Thank you for being here as we do. This is the Situation Room with Ndu and Dennis this morning. And, we know that times are coming. Getting into Christmas, so you're going to sit. You're going to have conversations with people. They'll tell you how their year was. They'll tell you what their plans are for the new year. They'll give you their 5-year projection. They'll give you their 10-year projection. They'll say, oh, yeah, our baby is 6 months old. And we know that in 18 years, they'll go to university. And you're like, 18 years? You already have a plan? Yes. You already have a plan. But you know what? I see a lot of people, they're killing it. They're doing this. They're making sure they're getting their plans in place. And you might get to the point where you're thinking, okay, you're out there crushing your goals and you're making your moves. But be honest with yourself for a second. Do you ever have that moment, that internal voice that says to you, everyone else seems to have a plan, but me, I really need to get my act together. The feeling of needing to get your future locked down is real. But listen, getting a plan doesn't have to be intimidating or elitist. That's why I'm talking about ICEA Lion. They're cutting through the noise and making financial planning relatable. Whether you're just starting out or looking to secure a comfortable retirement, they have plans to help you build wealth, to protect your assets, and to prosper with retirement security. So stop worrying about the future. Stop thinking about Nani has done it and they are looking at what you need to do is do it now. Think about the future, but start planning for it today. Get the easy personal plan that works for you. The question is, what's your plan? And you can find out more at icealion.co.ke. And when to put your money together, you can take some of it and make sure that you stay online.
Yes, because Airtel is telling you, using the Airtel Happy Hour Unlimited Fun Bundle, you're able to enjoy unlimited internet at an affordable price. So we're talking about unlimited internet for 1 hour at 19 shillings and for 3 hours at 45 shillings, and these will enable you be able to stream, watch your movies, attend class. If you're booking tickets, it's Christmas season, you can do that easily because you're sure that your data will not let you down. Now, let me paint a picture. You are booking your flight, you want a window seat, everyone is rushing because everyone wants to enjoy that perfect view of Nairobi, the rivers, the mountains, But as you are doing that, internet kaput, gone. And remember, everyone is angling for that seat. By the time you struggle to buy data, come back, that seat is gone. So where are you placed? The only seat you have is at the back. You can't recline. Your seat is closer to the washroom, and at that point, you have missed out on an opportunity to enjoy a beautiful seat. Airtel is coming here to tell you we can sort you out. How do you get that? *544# or go to your My Airtel app, and you can download that on Google App Store as well, and get yourself sorted out. If you're not on Airtel, where do you go? If you're not yet on Airtel, you go to your nearest Airtel shop. Yes. And you do that. Remember, this conversation as well is on our social media pages. Go in there, tell us your story, and you will be able to win airtime worth 3,000 shillings.
Fantastic. And once you win that, guess what you can do? You can feast and you can shop and jingle at Sarit this festive season. It started all the way from the 28th of November and we're going into the 24th of December. Enjoy daily festive activities, including meeting Mr. and Mrs. Santa. You need to tune into Sugar and Spice and hear Yolanda's experience of meeting the two. Fun moments with the elves at the Christmas decorations, and also fun appearances by Rudolph and surprise encounters with the Grinch. There are very many festive choral performances, and you can spin the wheel to win instant prizes. Earn points as you shop with the Sarity loyalty app, and shop unique African gifts with the Masai Market every Wednesday and Thursday. Experience festive cheer and magical moments all season long, only at Sarit. All right, then as we get through that, let's look into another point of the business of the day. Dr. Uma Oluga is the Principal Secretary, Medical Services at the Ministry of Health, and he joins us in the hot seat this morning. Daktari.
Hi.
Hey, Daktari, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I am well, thank you.
Yes, I'm well too. Thank you.
You're
good
well?
To see you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, and good to see you, Dennis.
Good to see you.
Karibu sana.
Asanteni sana.
Thank you for finally making it into the hot seat. There are a number of issues that we would like to look into, and so we're glad that you did this with us this morning, because Kenyans have questions and you are in a unique position to answer some of those. But let's get into it first, because Dennis wants to welcome you with today's proverb, and we'd love to get your interpretation.
Yes, and the proverb today comes from Yoruba. The Yoruba people of Nigeria.
Why are you looking at me?
Are you Yoruba? No, he has pointed it.
Okay.
It's her neighbors.
I'm not Yoruba actually, but yeah.
Yeah, and the Yoruba people are saying, where you sit when you are old reveals where you stood when you were young.
Very true. Yeah, they say that there's a lot of sight that comes with being old. You've seen enough to be tall, even when you are seated. I think so. I think that's the closest interpretation, that the senior and elderly people have seen enough that when they sit, they may, be still taller than those of us that are standing while young. But I think maybe it can also be inferred to mean that you need to plan early, so that you determine where you will sit.
Yeah.
In the later days.
True. Well said, well put.
Very, very much so. And as you said that, and then leading into our conversation, I was watching you, and I remember that we've had conversations with you in this room when you were at the unions,
yes,
and then when you were at the NMS, And then here we are at the Ministry of Health. So looking at that I guess at the point where you are now is a consummate sum of all of those different experiences, which hopefully is helping you do what you need to do today.
I thank God for that.
It's interesting. But let's look at a number of things at this point that are filling the Kenyan headspace in terms of health. And one of the things that's really big on the agenda is the most current deal that was signed between the country and the United States, all in the face of what the health situation looks like. So we'll paint a few brushstrokes. Number one, we know that with the most recent relinquishing of health-based funding from the US, that meant that Kenya was going to be put in limbo over certain things, as other countries were. And we also see that under Shah, that there have been complaints over and over and over again about the state of the working operations of the Social Health Authority. So very many things seem to be up in the air. It looks as though that this health funding then would be a panacea to all of this. Is this the case?
Very much the case, and I like using it's long since I had the word panacea, but exactly that is what it is. And thank you, Ndu, for painting that picture. So two things that are very important for us to understand is that health is one of the priority agenda for this government, and there is the 5 key pillars of how we want to transform the lives and the economy of the country and of the people. And these 5 key pillars, so housing and settlement, you've heard the president talk about housing all the time and settlements. There is the whole issue about economy in terms of jobs, businesses, so the SMEs, the MSMEs. Then there is the digitization and the creative economy, and of course you've seen the G2MES and the internet being put everywhere. That's the third. Then of course there is agriculture and food security, and then health. I think what we need to understand what it means, health, as a pillar of transforming the economy and the lives of the people. And again, 2 things are here. Number one is that health shouldn't be what makes you poor when you are seeking it. That health shouldn't be what makes you poor. But number 2 is that the activities within the health space should also drive our economic growth. And so you can unbundle both. So number 1 is that health shouldn't be what makes a family to be orphaned, then they can't pay school fee because their father or mother or breadwinner had to die because they can't access a surgery. And so if you do the total sum, that's exactly what we're doing. And then number 2 is that the way we are doing these things should also be in itself be an economic driver. Now, coming to the nitty-gritties of healthcare itself, we have 4 key priority areas within healthcare. One of them is the healthcare financing, because without money you cannot finance what is important. You have to get the money.
Yes.
So we have been so keen on what we call domestic resource mobilization, and that's where the SHA story comes in, because it's a way of ourselves putting in money in our basket so that we can pay for healthcare. Because for you to stop people from dying because of health, you must give them an opportunity or a mechanism of paying for that health, so that they don't die, or so that they don't get poor while seeking healthcare. So in the Social Health Authority, there are actually 2 ways in which we mobilize for resources. One is through the taxes. So through the taxes, of course, we ask Parliament to appropriate money, and we have there 2 funds, what we call the Primary Healthcare Fund and then the Emergency Chronic and Critical Illness Fund. And then this whole health financing means that you should also choose what am I paying for, and is it so important that if I don't pay for it, this person will die or they'll get very poor. And I'll give you a very good example of dialysis. It costs around 1.1 million shillings to have dialysis done for 1 year. Now, for many Kenyans, whether you're working, whether you're employed like most of us who are employed. If you are to pay for 1.1 million shillings, you will get poor. Your salary can't afford it. So either you will have to forgo paying school fee for your child or doing some other economic activity that is important, or you will die because you can't afford it. So that's why the government is paying for it, and we spend a lot of money there. The same with issues around cancer, where we now spend around 800,000 per patient in a year, because many families they'll go bankrupt if they have to pay for it. The same with things like accidents, where we, for the first 24 hours, we do it. Now, but then there are, of course, the other mechanism, which is the contributions of the people. So if you're employed like all of us here, at least you see something from your pay slip, so you have to contribute. If you're in business, we have mechanisms to get people in. The second priority, of course, is the health workforce. The health workforce is the bloodstream of the healthcare system. Without the health workers, you cannot deliver services. So we have been very keen to make sure that it's a key agenda in terms of the UHC delivery model. The third is health commodities. So the availability of drugs, the availability of equipment. There we have several programs. One of them is the reforms in KEMSA to make sure that hii ugonjwa ya hakuna dawa is no longer there, because and we found only 38% of medicines that patients required were available. Now it's all the way to 70%. In the last 6 months, we've made it 70%, but we are going towards 98% by March next year. Of course, His Excellency the President has given us a deadline of January, and then we are really pushing to make sure that at all hospitals we have medicines. And then there is also the whole issue about manufacturing locally to make sure that we are resilient. And then we are now providing equipment in hospitals through the National Equipment Service Program. And the last is digitization, so that we make sure all of these things are tied together. We have enough data, and I know we are going to talk about that. We have enough data so that our healthcare system is based on truth. And that truth is from a single source, so that you are not arguing with me where that truth is coming from. It's about all the actions being recorded, being unified, and we all know that that is the source of this data. And that is why we are doing digitization, so that when the patient goes, we know who the patient is. That we have an identifier for the patient. We have an identifier for the provider, that's the hospital. We have an identifier for the professional, the doctor, the nurse, the clinical officer. And we have an identifier for the product. Whether you used an X-ray or a medicine, we can identify you throughout.
Across board.
Across board. So that's the picture of the agenda that we are pursuing. And so far, we have to be grateful to Kenyans. 27.9 million. Actually, we are 12,000 to 28 million. I think by 10 a.m. this morning, we will be 28 million Kenyans that have already registered and are enjoying the services of the Social Health Authority. We have had a number of breakthroughs with hospitals. You've seen equipping of new hospitals in the last State of the Nation address. His Excellency addressed this, and it was fact-checked to be true in terms of the model that we are using to make sure that all our hospitals have modern X-rays, modern CT scans, modern cancer machines. And we are also working very hard to solve all issues of health workers. I think you've seen the UHC now is down. There is no other strikes. The doctors are enjoying their arrears. The nurses, we just solved all their issues. So we are working very well. But all of these things require resources. And part of that resource needs us to mobilize. And so as much as this is a priority of the government, and we've really been pushing Kenyans, and Kenyans have been responding very well with us, we are also looking at how can we achieve it faster. And that is where the US-Kenya government deal comes in. Because it's part and parcel of the actions to mobilize enough resources so that we get there faster.
So, Dr. the deal that we talk about, US and Kenya, one of the contentions issues that does exist here is the monies, we need that, right? But there is the aspect of the data sharing that does exist. And Kenyans are concerned in terms of why are we sharing our data with a foreign country? That's number one. Number two, there is also the aspect of participation. Kenyans also want to have a voice on decisions when it comes to their information, right? And there is also the aspect of, if we are sharing data, can they also share their data with us? Or is it one-sided? Because these are questions that are being raised, and perhaps it's an opportunity for you to clear the air. You know, are we sharing our data with the United States in terms of the data privacy? Was the agency involved? Where are we with that?
Yeah, thank you so much for this question. And this is something I think we will have to keep answering. And I think Kenyans shouldn't get tired of asking that question. I think I wanted to clarify that. We are not tired of clarifying it, and we will never get tired of clarifying it. Our foremost job as public officers, from an accountability perspective, is to be transparent and to carry Kenyans along. So, so the data sharing agreement comes from the bigger framework. So the bigger framework talks about the things that we want to do together. And there are a number of areas. There were 6 areas in that framework that are important. How we want to deal with outbreaks and how we want to deal with surveillance of disease, which is a very important thing that every country must do. Number 2, how we want to support delivery of services, so the health workforce again comes in. Number 3 is how we want to deal with commodities, how we want to avail the ARVs, the malaria medicines, the nets that we use, the laboratory equipment and all that. Number 4 is how we deal with maternal and child health issues. That's one of the biggest things around here. Number 5, of course, is the issues that relate to strategic investments, particularly the areas that we want to invest in around our priorities, the ones that I've mentioned, the social insurance revenue mechanisms, issues that relate to how the system performs when you go to a hospital, the waiting times and all that, how we want to jiggle the system to work better for the Kenyans. And the last one, of course, is the program management and the whole performance and monitoring and reporting issues. So now all those things will produce data. So for example, if I sign together with you that we are going to support surveillance of outbreaks of disease, let's say right now we have Marburg that the government of Ethiopia has declared, and we are surveilling how we want to protect Kenya, or whether there is any case of Marburg in Kenya, the virus. All of that require data, right? Now, when we use that data and somebody else is supporting you, it is just fair that I show you what I've done. If you give me money to survey a disease, it is important that I show you this is what I did.
Okay.
But I'm not showing you that Dennis or Oluga or Ndu had Marburg. No. What I'm showing you is that, oh, by the way, I set up this border screening in Namanga or in Manda or in this port, and out of 200 people that I screened, 10 of them had Marburg.
So what you're saying, that, sorry, just for clarity.
So, and that is what we are calling aggregate data.
Okay.
And that is what we are calling the identified data.
Allow me to clarify. What you're saying is not somebody in this case, the US is giving money to Kenya to the amount of $1.6 billion US.
208 billion Kenya
shillings, right?
Yeah, and I think that is important.
It's very important.
That's the largest, it's the single most
it's the highest amount of money that has been given to Kenya in terms of medical
and
funding.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
For us, big deal,
But on the other side of it, what we're saying here is that as this money is being given to Kenya, that the US then is basically saying, just tell us what you did with it. Accounting and management and accountability, right?
And in fact...
Okay, now if that's the case, why is there a time frame on it until a certain period of time? I think the time frame is a number of decades, isn't it? Why have that information in the US record for a period of time. I mean, 286 billion shillings is probably going to be utilized really quickly in Kenya for the different demands which you have put out this morning.
Yeah.
That will be used. But why would this information then remain with the US for 25 years?
No. The information is not remaining in the US for 25 years. So first of all, for the record, we have made all these documents public. I think our cabinet secretary shared. I had mentioned yesterday in the morning that we were still doing some institutionalization, which got finished in the day, and we made all the documents public. So even as I speak right now, a Kenyan can go, read, and ask me a question. So I think that is how transparent we are. And yes, the cooperation framework is for a period of 5 years. You know, you mentioned something very important. So there was where we are coming from. Where we are coming from is that there is what we call dwindling donor support. So many donors are withdrawing, including the US. So let's not be mistaken. Including the US.
They were one of the first.
So they were one of the first to withdraw. And then, of course, the FCDO, the Foreign Common Development Organization, also deprioritized health, which is the same as saying we have withdrawn. We have had Danida is coming to an end. So many donor or development organizations are ending. And I think Kenya must understand what I'm saying right now. And I'll come from the first point of health financing. We must have our own money to ensure all Kenyans have access to the highest attainable standard of healthcare. We must have our own money. Now, what we have done with the US is that instead of them having an abrupt disruptive stop the way they did on 20th of January this year, and that really affected the healthcare system in Kenya, we have agreed with them that, wait a minute, you are our good friends. We have been good partners in health. Why don't we have a 5-year framework? By that 5 years, if you invest in the things that we, the government, think are useful to make the healthcare system in Kenya sustainable, responsive, resilient, then now you can go. That is why the framework is for 5 years. Now, that 5 years, the US government has told us, okay, we understand. You said that we disrupted your healthcare system. We withdrew too early without a warning. Okay, right. Let's engage and let's sign a cooperation framework that in 5 years' time, you will stand on your own. So the money is also not based on the fact that we are so much needy, or that the fact that we really needed aid. It's about, we have our priorities as a Kenyan government. We think that we will get there, but we are not yet there. We need a bit of a push and support. And the US is saying, okay, we are your good friends. We understand that when we stopped giving medicines and when we stopped paying healthcare workers, you are not ready. And by the way, I'll go back to that story because the USAID funded programs were supporting 42,000 healthcare workers.
Yes.
42,000. 28,000 of them that were directly in the hospitals. 11,000 of them that were in the county, and another 2,000 in the national program. So 13,000 people that in just government places alone. So all of those people became jobless. So you can imagine the devastation in their lives. And
yes, it was terrible.
It was terrible. I remember the first 1 week, because I was dealing with this, I was also the one in charge of that impact assessment. The first 1 week, we did not have nevirapine in the hospital. It's a medicine that is given to children. We did not have malaria medicine called Atesunet. Not because it was not in the country, but because it was in the country, but the person who was holding it, or the organization holding, had a contract with the US government, and they were like, oh, our contract has been cancelled. Sorry, Kenya government, we have nothing to do with you. Okay? So these are the reasons why we had to re-engage with the American government. Say, okay, if you want to withdraw, it's fine, but let's do it in a way that also gets us to where we want to be. And so one of the things we have signed there, that Kenya will have attained the sustainable, strong, self-reliant healthcare system by 5 years.
Right.
And so that's the first thing about the time frame. Now, about the data, the reporting system in Kenya and the reporting system in the US requires that you do 2 years. So, for example, today, if I were to, right now I'm doing a report, for example, to Parliament. The report that I am doing is for the last financial year. Okay? So that is why we were, in terms of that accountability in the data, if I have given you money and you have spent it, I can only know that you've spent it in the next year. I can only know how many people got HIV, malaria, how much surveillance that you did in the next year. I hope you understand.
That's true.
And, so, and for me to audit that, then I have to even go 1 year further. That is why in the data sharing, we have put 7 years, because that is consistent with our laws here in Kenya. It's consistent with our PFM Act, the Public Finance Management Act of 2012. It's also consistent with the way we do our reporting. And it is also consistent with the way they do their reporting to Congress. So that is why we agreed we are doing 5-year cooperation framework, but because the data is meant for the implementation of the cooperation framework, we will do 2 years.
Where is this data stored? Where is this data stored? Is it in Kenya's database?
I told you that one of our priority areas in the healthcare system is what we call digitization.
Right.
So in the digitization, we are implementing something we call comprehensive integrated health information system.
Okay.
And I'll just break it down. So what it means is that we have a pipeline. We have a data pipeline for the entire country. All hospitals and all data systems plug into that pipeline.
Yes.
And then at the top, we have what we call registries. So that is where we are storing all our data.
And does the US then, because I have to go quickly with this data that has been digitized, does the US then, because you've just said across the country, all hospitals, all records, all people plugged into this, right?
That is a Kenyan government thing. That is not a US government
understood.
thing.
So long as you attend hospital, you then you attend hospital for whatever illness, sickness, check, you're in this system.
Yeah.
Through this deal with the US and Kenya, does the US have access to this digitized database?
They don't.
They don't.
And that is why we had to sign, and I'll say this in context. That is why we had to sign a data sharing agreement. You know, you don't sign for what you have access to. Why would I sign an agreement with you if I have access to what you're doing? I hope Kenyans understand what I'm saying.
So you're saying they already have access to it?
If they had access to it, why would they sign it? So the reason why they are signing it is because they don't have access to it. And I'll tell you 2 things that happened. So earlier this year, and of course after all of this stop work order, we consolidated all our data systems. We had a number of data systems. We had the chanjo.ke where we for the immunization, we had Damu for blood, we had Tibu for TB, we had the malaria, we had Kenya EMR. All of them, we have now brought them together. In fact, this happened when CS Dwale and myself came. We brought all of them together. And we brought all of them in the hands of the Kenyan government, hosted by the Kenyan government, secured by the Kenyan government, managed by the Kenyan government. Previously, what used to happen, and I'm not saying that is what was obtaining then, because Kenya had not yet invested in a comprehensive integrated health information system. We didn't have it. So I can't say that it was wrong then. But what was happening before is that through a USAID funded program, so the USAID would give money to an NGO. The NGO would go and say that, okay, you know, for us to do all of this work, we also must have computers, we must have a system. Now, that is what was directly at the hospital level. I hope you understand. Now, all of that information, of course, the government was accessing it, but also it needed to be controlled, because remember that even the Data Protection Act just came in 2019. I hope you understand. But the information and the data was there even from 2013, from 2010. I hope you understand. So it means that this information was just available. I hope. So now is when we have consolidated it. And in the data sharing agreement, we are very clear that the provision of that data will be on the basis of the Data Protection Act and also the Digital Health Act of 2023. Now, for health, we have even gone a step further, passed a law, passed a regulation on how health data can be used to make sure that every Kenyan has secured confidentiality of their information, and that every single data that we have, for you to use it, there is a reason why you have to access it and use it, and you have to give a feedback that you used it for only that purpose. And that is both in tandem with the Data Protection Act. And by the way, when we were negotiating this data sharing agreement, we wrote to the data commissioner, Madam Kasait, and she is on record that she was consulted and she gave the advisory, and she said what we need to do as a country to make sure that all Kenyan data are protected. And as I've mentioned, we will not get tired of saying this, but I think we just want to give the assurance to the country that we have done the very best to protect their data. And by the way, it's even recorded there that should there be conflict between the Kenyan law and the US law, the Kenyan law will prevail.
So, Dr. You'll be sharing this data with the US. What will they be using this data for?
So,
since we are peers and we are comparing notes, is Kenya government as well able to get this data from the US?
Yes. By the way, it is also
from US government, just so you compare notes and see how to improve on each other. And as well, what will it take for Kenyan government to get that data from the US government to share?
So in the that's why it's called data sharing. Sharing, what does that mean? That we both exchange. So there are two sets of data. One, of course, is the data that is meant for the implementation of the programs themselves. How many people did we reach with ARVs? How many malaria cases did we treat? If we helped in terms of performance of hospitals, what was the improvement in terms of clinical outcomes from this number of people dying in a hospital to now this number of people that we've saved, and all of that. That data is important because it's what shows their taxpayers and their Congress that they have improved the healthcare system in Kenya.
Come the Kenya government as
we
well.
are also getting the data, and the data that we are getting from them is about the expenditures, but also we are getting the data in terms of the outbreaks in other places, because, for example, when we are doing disease outbreaks and surveillance, we are both strengthening the healthcare systems. And so if there is, for example, a disease outbreak elsewhere, the US government is also sharing with us that information. So we are also getting the data that, by the way...
But they're not sharing information, Dr. about people. They're sharing surveillance information. And I think we need some clarity on
but
this.
But even as we are sharing surveillance information...
I need to be very clear about this. Is information about Kenyans, 40-year-old... 6'4" Kenyan, having been treated at Kenyatta National Hospital for cancer records 1, 2, 3. Is information like that being shared with the US?
No.
Secondly, the information that we are talking about is just for reporting, accounting, and management purposes? We're saying
purely
that
aggregate.
We did surveillance in Migori County, for example, with this money that you have given to us, and based on that 1, 2, 3, it cost X amount of money, and here it is. So we're saying that this data sharing for the US is purely for purposes of accounting?
Purely. The documents are public. You can interpret them for yourself. Yeah, and so anyone can fact check what I'm saying. It's aggregate data from aggregate systems. What we mean by aggregate systems is that we are not going to go to a hospital in Migori or a hospital in Mombasa and saying this number of people came here, they are the ones that benefited from your services. Aggregate systems means that the system in Migori, the system in Mombasa, the system in Kakamega, the system in Nairobi, all of them put together. So you will not even know that this number of people are in Migori. You will know that this number of people are Kenyans.
Okay.
I hope you understand.
I understand
so
that.
Now that's aggregate systems.
Right.
Now, aggregate data, even if you knew that this number of people are Kenyans who benefited from this service, you will not know that this one was Oluga, he's 40 years old. No. You will know that we had 1.3 million people who got services, and by this time we have aggregated the performance that all of these people are well controlled, all this number of pregnant people got nets. It's aggregate data.
That's understood.
From aggregate systems, and it is very clear in the data sharing agreement. It is for purposes of implementation of the cooperation framework.
Okay, so
whatever
the primary
we have,
issue here,
yes,
the primary issue here is that there's a funding agreement between these two nations.
Yes,
that's the primary thing. That the U.S. essentially is helping again with donor aid. It's donor aid. That's what it is.
This one is a partnership, but
it's a partnership.
Yeah. Because we are also putting money and it's tied
so
together.
Kenya is putting money in this deal.
Yeah. Kenya is putting.
Is any of this money going to the U.S.?
No. Kenya is putting in money for. By the way, the U.S. and let me explain this. So the U.S. also have their diplomatic priorities, and the U.S. also is interested in protecting their own health.
Yes.
And I can tell you for a fact, the reason why the U.S. is also funding disease surveillance and outbreaks is also to protect their own health, so that they protect the diseases before they come, some to their borders, but also so that they know how to deal with them. So it is also in their best interest. And so I think one of the things we should not misconstrue is to say that, no, this is lopsided, it's just Kenya. No.
This is what my question was, so maybe you can answer in that direction. So is that if we're saying this is development aid.
It's not development aid. It's not charity.
It's not charity.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a
so
partnership.
the US are looking to protect their systems.
Yes.
Whereby they ensure that any diseases that could potentially come to them are found out. Right. They're putting a significant amount of money. If Kenya's putting in some money, that money is staying in Kenya. If that's the case, why is it called a data sharing deal as opposed to then a funding deal whereby money is going in to protect health systems for Kenya?
So now we have the cooperation framework. Now the cooperation framework looks at what exactly are we going to do, how much money are we going to put in both countries together. So that's the funding deal.
Yes.
The funding deal is the cooperation framework. And by the way, this is not new. Even USAID signed something called Development Cooperation Framework in 2021. So it's not a new thing. So the cooperation framework is the funding deal. Now, under the cooperation framework, there are three things that are important. One is how you will implement it. That we are yet to determine. So we are now going into what we're calling an implementation matrix. Okay? Number two is the finance agreement. So you do a funding deal, but then you have to do a finance agreement. The finance agreement is now what puts this money into our budgets. Now that is done by the National Treasury. That is currently ongoing. And then three is the information that comes from this our cooperation, because we will be doing things together. I'll be sending you money. I'll be investing in your hospitals. I will also be putting in money. We will share the information as far as disease outbreaks are concerned. We will be doing all of this work together. And you have taken over all the systems. So how do I know what you're doing? So you have to share with me the information. And we have a Data Protection Act. So the reason why we were going into the data sharing agreement is because the Kenyan government right now has full control of the entire ecosystem of data. And so the US like, no, wait a minute. So I'm going to do all of this. How do I know what you're doing? So then we had to go into how I'm going to share that data in a way that is consistent with the Kenyan laws. And that is really what we want to tell the country, that the data sharing agreement, which is now public, is meant only for the implementation of the cooperation framework. It does not go into other health areas that are not part of the cooperation framework.
So, Dr. the funding is there, the data has been shared, it is with the US government. But question then is, who is conducting oversight on how this data is being used by the US government? And what guarantees do you have to give people of Kenya that the US government will use this data for the benefit of Kenyans and will not misuse it?
So within the data sharing agreement, there are four mechanisms that we've clearly put there. Number one, of course, is that there has to be a request. So it's not just that, there's data sharing agreement. Okay, what did we do together? Here it is. No, you have to request me in terms of what what we call covered data systems. It is there in the agreement, covered data systems. So we will agree on the covered data systems. Agree means that you have to request me. Then we have to agree, okay, this covered data system I'll provide for you. Number 2 is that there has to be approval. So now we have approval at the Digital Health Agency, which is our new institution of looking at health data. And then we have another approval at the Data Commissioner, which is the one that deals with Data Protection Act. And there are also regulations. Number 3 is that you have to use it for the purpose for which you requested. And number 4 is that you have to tell me that you used it only for the purpose that you request. And it is there in the law, in that data sharing agreement, that should you use it for another purpose, then you have breached the contract.
How will you know? How will you oversight to ensure that?
We will oversight because, this information, first of all, it's aggregate and it is from aggregate systems. Now, when you tell me that I will use this information only for this purpose as a government, we have ways of checking.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's the sharing that we're talking about, because there is 3 processes. 1, the performance. So the performance is also, the performance audit is also related to the data, the performance of what you use the data for. So if you read some of the articles there is the thing about the data use. So when you talk about the data use, it tells you what you have to use it for. If you don't, then you have already breached the law.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, there are mechanisms in which we are going to deal with such kind of issues.
So what can they use it for currently? What this data that's being given, which you had talked about for accounting purposes and such, what else, according to this deal, I mean, we've looked through it, but what else, according to you, can they use this data for?
I think we have to be fair to the US government. One is that we have had a very long relationship with the US government, 50 years. And it's not just in health, it's in many areas. And they are our greatest partners. In fact, the largest single bilateral development organization we have is the US government. So we have to come from that perspective that we've had a good relationship before. You know, if you've had a good relationship before, there is already inbuilt trust. Now we have even gone further than the relationship to do a document. We've never done that before. So if you've had, it's like you've been girlfriend, boyfriend for quite a long time, you've been good, and then now you have a marriage certificate, you know. So it makes it even better and firmer. So in terms of what they can use it for, we use it for the things that relate to the implementation of this framework. What are those things? They have to, of course, justify to their taxpayers. They have to justify for their Congress. They have to know that the Kenyan healthcare system is moving towards the direction we told them. I told you that the premise upon which all of this is that, okay, us as US, we want to withdraw. We no longer want to fund you. Then Kenya government says, okay, wait a minute. You know, you are financing us. You are financing us through a mechanism that was not government to government. Now I have put in a strong system that I think is now going to make me stand on my own feet, so that in the future I may not need this kind of hand-holding. But before I get there, let's work together. So now change what you have been doing here through other people that are not aligned perhaps with what I am doing as a government. Now let us do this thing that I want as government. You invest in my SHA, invest in my KEMSA, invest in my surveillance through the National Public Health Institute. Let my institutions be strong so that I stand on my own. When I get there, in 5 years, I think I will be there. Then now you can walk out. So let's start from the fact that they wanted to withdraw. Okay, so now they have to also monitor that, okay, so you told me that if I gave you this money, you are getting there. So are you actually getting there?
Okay.
So they need that information.
Yeah.
So if you say that right now you have 59,000 new HIV infections and you want to do more prevention, okay, so next year, are the number of people getting HIV infections less?
Okay.
So they have to, I mean, it's
That's
just there.
So then on the Kenyan side, I mean, let's just, you know, and I think this document is a public document, because folks are asking, you know, is this document public? It's public.
It's public.
It's been shared, and everything that was in this is there.
It's public.
People ask questions about public participation and things like that. But let's look on this other side, whereby you've talked about that in 5 years, the things Kenya should essentially be, number one, independent, and number two, and I'm talking about independent in this space whereby its health issues can be taken care of by Kenyan money, and that money actually be applied to these processes. What is it going to look like in some time when this money is actually applied? Let's say now part of this money is applied to the health system, and I'm talking about brick and mortar things. You were at the NMS when we saw in Nairobi 24 health facilities, plug and play facilities were built at the cost of about 800,000 shillings, and that people were able to go into level 2s and 3s and actually get things done. You and I can say this publicly, you and I personally worked on a case where a woman had to have treatment at Kenyatta National Hospital, and we had to wait for months for her to get a scan because there was only one machine and the lines were very long. These are real situations, Dr. What will happen for us to see a change? Because that has been the problem for the longest time, that there can be a loan that has been taken, there can be a grant that has been given, but we don't see the physical manifestation of it in country. What will start to change that we can say, okay, we can see that this American money is being applied here, and we can actually see changes in the health system? You know who's crying. Teachers are crying already about their new system because they say, where are we going to go to get this health facility when the next one is how many kilometers away and I'm supposed to be in school teaching? Those are the real situations. Mothers cannot get out of hospital. They're held because the bills have not been paid because there's not enough money to go around. Real situations. So how are we going to see that that money is going to translate to the situations that are plaguing society today? Will it happen?
It will happen. And thank you so much for bringing us to the reality of our healthcare system, because we can discuss all of this money is around 208 billion about Kenya going to put in another 50 billion about the data, but then we forget the people. And I think from where you have left it, I just have to say three things. One is that what is it that if we do with the money, we get there? Now, what is it that if we do with the money, we get there? Number one is that we have to look at what we call revenue measures, because we want to have our own basket of money to be able to pay for healthcare. The reason why you say people say, let's say they get stuck in a hospital, is because they have not, for example, registered for the Social Health Authority. Why have they not registered? Is that they didn't get the information? Is that they didn't have the money? Or is it that they refused? So those three things are important in terms of where do you want to go and how do we get the money. So that is the first thing that we want to invest in terms of strengthening our Social Health Authority. Now, strengthening our Social Health Authority means that the things that the Social Health Authority cannot pay for now are the things that we are going to start looking at. How does this money get to the Social Health Authority so that it pays for it? I hope you understand what we are saying. And then within that 5 years, we work with the Kenyans so that they are able to pay their contributions to the Social Health Authority. So that in another 5 years, the Social Health Authority has the money to pay for the thing that we used the American money to pay for. So for example, if today we say that we are investing in maternal and child health care, and you've said some women getting stuck in hospital, we will have to determine, so these women who got stuck in a hospital, because right now you're not supposed to be, even as we speak, even without the US money, you're not supposed to be stuck in a hospital, because we have made it very clear that all hospitals are covered. But then you find, and I got this case in Nairobi, and I have to mention Mama Lucy, because first of all, I worked in Nairobi, so I know Nairobi very well. I have been in these hospitals. I know the healthcare system here very well. And so you find ladies who are in Mama Lucy stuck after delivery. The reason why they were stuck is because they have not registered for the Social Health Authority. The reason why they have not registered for the Social Health Authority, we found out that 3 of them did not have IDs. So they are over 18, but they did not have IDs. So, you know, these challenges, and I think Kenyans have to work with us so that we all develop the country together. So we've already said that you will be paid for maternity, but you as a Kenyan, you have refused to join or you have been hindered to join because of some other issues. Maybe you didn't get the information, but the information is there. So these are the things we want to work for. So how do we make sure that everyone coming to hospital, people have IDs, they have registered? There are also those people who cannot pay or won't pay because they are very poor. So those are the things we want to look at, the sponsorship programs like the one that the president has started. So we want to invest robustly in those things. The second thing that is very important with this money for us to get there is when you get to the hospital, does the hospital give you the services that you need? We call that the health system's performance. So we can work on the social health authority, we can work on the revenue, we can work on every money that we need to pay for the services. But are the services available? It's like going to a hotel. You have 1,000 shillings, you can eat lunch, but the hotel doesn't have the food. So the second thing we want to work on is, does the healthcare system help you to get those services? So that's why we want to invest in that. We want to invest to make sure that the machines are working. We want to invest to make sure that the worker is there. That's why if you look at that our cooperation framework, which is public, you will see there health workers. We want to take 13,000. Why? Because we don't want you to wait longer. We want to work on commodities so that you have the medicines that are there. We want to work on hospital equipment. We want to work on laboratories. By the laboratory is one of the biggest there. We'll be investing in over 52 laboratories so that we can give you the diagnosis you need.
Daktari,
do you have do you get the services that the hospital can offer, even if we can pay for it?
Daktari, one of the major problems that has existed for a very long time in healthcare in the country is graft and corruption. Whether we have the US funding.
I wanted to get that on the third one.
Okay.
So the third thing is, we have the money, the hospital has the service, can we sustain it? Like, can all of those things work in an arrangement that we are sure that tomorrow it will still be sustainable? So what does that mean? It means that we have to prioritize. It means that we have to utilize the money efficiently and effectively. It means that we have to put mechanisms for accountability. And accountability is not just accountability for money. It's accountability for, did the doctor come on time? It's accountability for, did the CEC or the chief officer do the work that they are meant to do? If they are meant to do a return so that I pay the UHC workers in time, did they do it? So we also want to invest in that system of sustainability. That system of sustainability has a framework of accountability in there. That accountability, there's social accountability, there's professional accountability, and you want to invest to ensure that whether it is at the leadership and governance, whether it is at the management, or whether it's at the service delivery level, there is a sustainability framework. Now, those three things are what will get us to the Kenya that we are now telling the US government that, okay, in 5 years, we are where we are supposed to be. We can now sustain our systems. We can pay for our TB services. We can pay for malaria services. We can do surveillance for our own systems, for our own disease outbreaks. Revenue first, in terms of the money we need, social health authority. The health system performance. Does the hospital or the healthcare system give you the services that you require as a Kenyan? Number 3, can we make all of these things work seamlessly? Can we be assured that tomorrow, what we have done with this money can still be available? How do we do the sustainability?
And that's what needs to be followed. I mean, an hour is not enough to go through some of these things and interrogate some of these processes. But that the things that you said, that we will see them in reality, is what the hope is. And of course, it continues to be discourse, but then it continues to be hope that we actually live them out and see them be. Dr. Wuma Oluga, thank you for coming. Thank you for being here this morning. Principal Secretary, Medical Services, the Ministry of Health, going through a lot of these issues this morning, necessary that we do. We look forward to a time where it can be actually seamless and simultaneous.
We've made progress, We've made progress, Dennis. Kenyans, we've made progress. We are not where we want to be, but we are firmly on the path to where we want to be.
Asante sana.
Asante.
3 minutes past 8. Good morning.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
morning. This is the News Wire. I'm Lea Ubaga. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has announced that it has successfully recovered assets worth 3.4 billion Kenya shillings that were seized this year. The cash haul is part of the 22.9 billion investigation. EACC CEO Abdi Mohammed says the commission reported that it has recovered over 16.5 billion shillings through investigations, prosecutions of suspects, as well as corruption prevention and public awareness.
The Commission successfully recovered assets worth Kenya shillings 3.4 billion, up from 2.9 billion in the previous year. This demonstrates a tangible increase in the effectiveness of our asset recovery efforts. This positive trend extends to other critical areas, including 54 cases that were finalized in court compared to 45 in the previous year. Convictions also saw a remarkable increase from 12 cases to 33 cases, among other achievements.
In addition, the Commission received 4,183 reports and successfully investigated over 1,800 cases. EACC Chairman Bishop David Okende, on his part, said bribery cases were 37%, while theft of public funds was at 19%, and ethical practices took 13%, as well as looting of public property at 10%.
Recently, the Commission convened a high-level National Ethics and Integrity Conference to address the alarming rise of falsified academic and professional qualification. Kenya must never become a society where shortcuts supersede merit. Integrity must be upheld across every stage of our national development pipeline. It is very sad that even very senior people in government are operating under false documents, forged certificates. It is an embarrassment to our society.
And Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka has mocked President William Ruto's ambition to transform Kenya into an economic powerhouse, saying such development is not possible under his rule, citing chaos, apathy and poor governance as major obstacles to the country's growth. Speaking in Nairobi, Kalonzo compared the development model to developed nations such as Singapore to the Kenyan government, which he says has failed to safeguard public assets with corruption rampant in public institutions.
Singapore was built on order, on discipline, on accountability, and a fierce intolerance for corruption, not the chaos, the carelessness, and the impunity we're witnessing today. Public finance is a public trust, and every leader at the national and county level has a duty to defend that trust.
That's the News Wire. I'm Lea Ubaga.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
Good morning, and I love your show.
Thank you.
Having come from a Kikuyu radio background, I migrated to Spice because of the content.
I was born in a slum, but somehow I got a break in life. So sometimes when you see the sweating coming out because of the passion and whatever it is, behind the noise, there are people. And we share the same umbilical cord. It shouldn't be like that. I am so disappointed.
We used to tell Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga that he's doing politics of conmanship. And even President Uhuru Kenyatta, serikali hii ndio iko na conmanship ya hali ya juu. You cannot promise people that you reduce tax, then you double.
In politics, there is the issue of trust. For you to turn around and then stab the same people who gave you that trust, there is no other level of dishonesty. Imabo, utaona dunia tu.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
And coming off a health conversation at 8 minutes after 8 o'clock, then we get into a bit of a political one in a short while. But you want to ask yourself, what's your plan? Do you have a plan, Dennis?
Yes.
You do? Let me tell you about folks that you can go and have a conversation with, and that they can take that plan that you have, they can say what exactly is it that you want to do, and they can turn that plan into reality based on what you're able to do now. You can think about the future, and you can use it from the comfort of where you are. You're on the go from your phone. You can say, okay, you know what? I have 10 shillings, and I'm going to put that 10 shillings away. And you can do that courtesy of ICA Lion's digital tools. So we've been discussing how to navigate this constantly changing world. And when it comes to your money, you need a plan that's easy to access. The good news is that the ICEA Lion is making your financial journey seamless and digital. Forget the old-fashioned complicated stuff when you have to go sit in line, queue, wait, take a number. You don't have to do that anymore. ICA Lion has digital channels like their WhatsApp chatbot, he's called Leo, and their self-service portal, making planning super easy. They even have a retirement preparedness index tool, so you can be ready. It helps you calculate exactly how much you need for retirement, and it gives you a specific target to plan towards. You want 1 million shillings? They say, okay, fine, you've got 10 years to do it. Let's tell you how much you're going to be putting aside every day, every month, however regular you need that to be. So ICA Line is making insurance and investment necessities not luxuries, but for a diverse group of people. Find your accessible, inclusive, and helpful plan today. Just ask, what's your plan? And check out the digital tools at icealion.co.ke. And I reckon you're going to tell us about 19 shillings.
Yes. You see, now, once you've had all this plan, you have some money set aside. The next thing you need to do is to manage how these funds is being spent, right? You need to see your bank balance and everything else. And with that, you need a bundle that will enable you to do that at the comfort of your living room. It is a bundle that will ensure that your quality of life is maintained. I keep telling him, I'm ambassador of good life. I'm not afraid to say it. But here is *544#, or you go to your Airtel, my Airtel app, download that on App Store or Google Play Store, and you're able to connect. If you're not yet on Airtel, go to your nearest Airtel shop and buy that. So question is, what is your FOMO? Which is the situation where you were connected and you missed out simply because data ilikukatikia? Airtel is telling you using their Airtel Fun Happy Hour bundle will enable you enjoy all this good data, good connectivity, and enjoy good things in life. Good tidings, Bana. Airtel is giving you that.
El Fantastico. Okay. All right. And so this morning, of course, we're looking into the future of politics. So many things said over and over and over again. But a very good friend of mine, Saitaba Ole Kanchori, is here this morning. Good morning, Saitaba.
Good morning, Du.
Hey, Saitaba.
It's been a minute.
Why?
It's been a long time.
How are you doing?
Fantastic. I'm good.
You've been hiding somewhere, but we've been seeing you. We've been seeing you because you've not been able to be quiet about what you feel about certain things.
Correct.
So let's have that conversation, and we'll do that today. But to welcome you properly, because you've been away for so long, Dennis is going to give you today's proverb. We'd love to hear your interpretation of it.
Hi, Dennis.
Fitzan, how are you?
Niko poa.
Last I saw you, ilikuwa ni hapa ni crime scene. But good to see you.
Still a crime scene. The crime scene just expanded.
All right. So our proverb today comes from the Yoruba people from Nigeria. Yeah? Okay. And it says, where you sit when you are old reveals where you stood when you were young.
Wow. Where you sit when you're old reveals where you stood
when you were young.
Wow, fantastic. That is an interesting one. The way I see it, like every proverb, it can be open to different interpretations.
Yes.
It can be amenable to many interpretations as well. But I would give it 3 and quick ones. One is that the things you do in life when you're young determine the position or where you'll end up. Okay, so I think that is a simpler interpretation. The slightly deeper interpretation is that your legacy is created over time. Your legacy as a person is cumulative, is created over time. But here is the one that I think is the most important when I listen to that kind of proverb. That proverb is talking about being principled. Being principled. That we should not be changing our positions all the time. the things that we did when we were young are the same ones that we should be standing with when we are older. So I think it is a call to being principled, for people to be principled and to remain steadfast in their stand.
Right.
You know, I hear you speak and I remember this song by Jaguar. Mwanasiasa Kigeugeu. Mara hii. Tomorrow you're saying another thing. So we can't really place you. Yeah. So I think, that's how I would look at it.
Yeah. It's interesting because since the demise of the late Honorable Raila Odinga, who you're very, very close to, I've not heard you speak publicly as would invite you to do so today, and so an opportunity for you to do that, but many may not know just how close you were with him, and a part of the party, a chief agent, the chief of all of them in the last election. And then now to see that a party which many would assume was going to take the reins and then move with things seems to have issues here and there. What is your overall thinking as compared to what you imagine Raila Odinga would have wanted in this particular dispensation politically?
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, of course, the death of Raila Odinga came to us all as a big shock. It came unexpected. It came suddenly. It came in circumstances that a lot of people have questioned. And of course, it left all of us that much pained and that much at a loss. As those who were close to him, his family, especially his followers and supporters, and of course the nation and even the continent at large. We have lost, I have called Raila Odinga in my book the greatest Kenyan of all time. And I think he really was. It is very painful to even think about it, even now, that Raila Odinga is not here with us. You know, some of us, we are still in some kind of denial because we have not accepted even the explanation or the story, or and a lot of Kenyans, you can see a lot of Kenyans are questioning what really happened. And but that said, it has happened. I believe that in the fullness of time, perhaps the whole story will come out. I personally have called for a public inquest into Raila Odinga's death because there are questions that still are lingering. Public inquests are provided in our law, and there are things that are done, just to not necessarily because there is an accusation of any kind, but just to clear the air. I saw the other day that there is a public inquest into Ken Walibora's death. 5 years down the line. So perhaps in the fullness of time, we will publicly inquire as to what exactly happened. Because Raila Odinga was a very healthy man. I know him. He was a very healthy man. He was a very strong man. I have worked with him closely. I know, later I had people talk about this or the other, but the explanation that was given did not add up. Of course, everybody knows how close I was to Raila Odinga. I was his national chief agent in the last election. And therefore, it also, as fate will have it, I am his last national chief agent. Raila Odinga has had only 5 chief agents in his life. In his long and illustrious political career, he has only had 5 chief agents, and I happen to be one of them. So that should tell you. He has had, of course, many supporters, many followers, but chief agents are not people that they're people who are singled out for certain qualities and certain values that the principal or the person who appoints sees in them. Because as a chief agent, I assumed the persona of Raila Odinga. For the days I was chief agent, I was basically Raila Odinga. Anywhere I was a representation of Raila Odinga. And for him to have trusted me to do that, he must have known that I stood for something, or I stood for something that he also stood for. So coming to where we are as a party, I think it's the jury is still out. The jury is still out. I have said in the past, I have said, and I will say it again and again, the true and real followers of Raila Odinga, as myself, never joined the broad-based government. Okay? So that is a starting point. Raila Odinga never joined the broad-based government himself. He made it clear that he donated experts.
Experts, yes.
He donated experts. So Raila Odinga did not join the broad-based government. I have heard people say that Raila left us in government. He did not. Raila left Mbadi, Wandai, Joho and Oparanya in government. But I can challenge you guys, Dennis, look for it. Look for any place where Raila Odinga has asked his supporters to join government. I want to challenge you. You will not find it because he never did. He never asked his supporters to support William Ruto. He said, between now and we have decided to stabilize his unstable regime. And that is all he left it as. Okay? So, the truth is stubborn. Truth is stubborn. So a lot of things will be said here and there, but the truth does not change. In fact, if you listen to Raila Odinga in the initial stages of this broad-based thing, he wanted to disown it. You know, when these guys were appointed the first time in, was it July last year, he actually disowned them.
Yeah.
He disowned them.
How so?
He disowned them. He said, you know, he does not take responsibility for their appointment. And he even compared them to a girl who wants to get married so much that they elope into the marriage. You know, that's how he compared them. So he was distancing himself. Because you see, Raila Odinga understood the politics of his country. And he understood how unpopular joining William Ruto was. And he did not want to take responsibility for the kind of backlash that he knew that would create.
Yet, Kanchori, even as he understood that, Raila Odinga sat with William Ruto at KICC and signed that 10-point agenda and a broad-based government. And it is on the premise of that arrangement that many say Raila Odinga left us in government because there is a document to show. There's a document that was appended. His signature is there together with his Secretary General. And one would say, based off that, then Raila understood that he was in government.
You know, if you look at the 10-point agenda, Dennis, and if you look at that MOU, it was not a cooperation agreement. These are things that Raila Odinga and ODM were telling William Ruto to do. Not things that they were going to do together. You know, I would want us to be very clear because there's a lot of noise in this country and sometimes the truth is, you know, it gets muddled and it gets lost in the noise. So the 10-point agenda, there is not one where ODM was supposed to do together with UDA.
Okay.
All these were demands. They were essentially demands that you implement NADCO, you reduce the cost of living, you compensate victims of your violence, right? You do this, you do this. There were demands that Raila Odinga was making. And you know, if you don't understand the mind of Raila Odinga, because he would not say certain things plainly, but he was an intelligent person, and he knew that he was talking to intelligent people. But now, the problem with that is that it always leaves some gray areas. And in the nature of our politics is that sometimes you cannot come out very openly. Because you see, I will tell you, and I will prove it to you before the end of this show, because I know you like the truth. I know you're a truth seeker. Raila Odinga had a plan to make William Ruto a one-term president. I will prove it to you. Raila Odinga was going to run in 2027. And I will prove to you if you have the time. It will take a short time, actually. That Raila Odinga was implementing that plan. The 10-point agenda was one of that plan. And if you want to know that it was, why was it time barred? And why was it ending in terms of being implemented in 2026? Why not in 2027?
They needed a year?
Just a year, you know, because he knew if he ended it, because the things that he wanted William Ruto to do are things that possibly will require more time than 1 year. But he knew that if he gave him more than 1 year, he will not have time to wriggle out. Okay? So William Ruto had up to March 2026, according to that agreement, to do all those things, which he has not even accomplished one, and we're getting into 2026. He only has less than 4 months, in fact, 3 months, if you don't count this month, to do all those 10 things, which are not easy to do. And it was Raila Odinga's way. You know, and you know, I'm a straight shooter, and you know me, you have known me for a long time. I'm a straight shooter. And one of the things I do is that I like to say it as it is, so that whoever takes it, and whoever doesn't want to take it. You know, there's a saying that the further a society drifts from the truth, the more it will hate those who speak it. So sometimes when you're speaking the truth, it's not always very convenient or comfortable for certain, for everybody. But the truth has to be said nonetheless. So the 10-point agenda was a poison chalice that Raila Odinga was giving to William Ruto. He would have gotten out of it because William Ruto is not going to implement any of those.
Yeah.
And I will tell you something else. If you look at the composition of IEBC, 50% of IEBC commissioners today were appointed by Raila Odinga. 50%.
What does that mean, Saitaba?
So why would he have an interest of appointing 50% of commissioners of IEBC if he didn't have an interest in the election?
One would also interpret what you're saying in terms of Raila Odinga wanted to influence the results of the election.
No, he you know, results of elections are always influenced. I can tell you that. Results of elections, especially presidential elections, it would be a lie to say that they are not influenced, because they have been influenced, you know, all the whole time. They have always been influenced. So he knew that for you to run a credible and you know, successful presidential bid, you require IEBC, and he had his hand in IEBC. Why? Again, I've asked the question: why would he want to have control or a say in IEBC? The IEBC that will run the 2027 elections, if he had no interest in the election. You know, so it is very clear to me that Baba was going to he had a plan. And as his supporters, we need to understand that, you know, William Ruto has been an option for in this country for the last 3 elections. Okay? You know, sometimes in Kenya, we operate like we have just come to this country, like we are new in Jerusalem. We are strangers in Jerusalem. We are not. There have been 2 constants in the last election, in the last 3 elections. 2 constants. One of them is Baba Raila Odinga. He has been a constant in the last 3 elections, 2023, 2027, and 2022. The other constant in those 3 elections is William Ruto. Okay? So, and the ODM family and the Raila Odinga's real supporters have always rejected William Ruto in favor of Raila Odinga. Why is that so? The reason is simple. You see, those of us who supported Raila Odinga mostly supported him for what he stood for. Because Raila Odinga was 2 things. He was first an idea and an ideology. Okay? He was an idea and an ideology for fighting for the people, for the oppressed, articulating the issues of the people. And that is what was the allure of Raila Odinga to most of us. Okay? And most of the people who supported Raila Odinga, 90% I would say, supported him because of that. So the other part is Raila Odinga was also a man, you know, and as a man, of course, you know, he had his own maybe faults, he had his own weaknesses, whatever it is. But Raila Odinga, the idea was solid. It was an idea that you could, and that one lives on. It lives on even after Raila Odinga is gone. And the idea is to fight for the truth and for the people.
I hear what you're saying, Sait, about, and then I think about also that day in Bomas in 2022, where obviously you said, you know, there's something going on here that is more than meets the eye. And I want to play that to what we saw with the by-elections that took place just a couple of weeks ago, to then what possibly could be issues within ODM, that there seem to be fissures within the party that would be the absolute opposites of what, you know, a former party leader would have wanted to be the case. Are there rats fleeing a sinking ship?
Are there rats fleeing the sinking ship? I don't think I would say they are fleeing. They never joined that sinking ship, most of them. Okay, most of the real supporters of Raila Odinga never joined this broad-based thing. Okay, and that is why you hear someone like Orengo saying, let us listen to the people. Why is Orengo saying, let us listen to the people? And he's repeating that so many times. It's because he knows the people are not in this thing. The people have never been in this thing. And the people will never be. You see, ODM, the party that I am still a life member of ODM, by the way. ODM is not just a political party. We need to distinguish between a party and a movement. ODM is a movement. So a political party is formed by politicians. No.
Yes.
Politicians form political parties, and then they welcome or entice people to join the vehicle called a party. A movement is formed by the people, and the politicians join it. That's the difference between ODM and these other outfits.
That it's a movement.
It's a movement. It is the people who formed it first, and the politicians merely joined. Now, movements don't die. As long as the issues for the people are alive, the movement will continue. And usually with a movement, if a politician departs from the movement, from the ideals of the movement soldiers on regardless.
The movement that you're talking about, that is ODM today, seems as if it is split in the middle, you know, in terms of its leadership. So we have the likes of the young bloods, the Sifunas, the Pabuinos, and also Orengo in that camp was saying, you know, this is what Baba said. And you have the other camp who say, we are in broad-based beyond 2027, you know. And when you look at this movement and the following that each group brings on board, one asks the question, is this movement split in the middle? Is it a sinking ship?
Okay, that question, I will answer it very plainly and quickly. There are two groups in ODM right now. There are two groups. The one group has been aptly referred to as the parasites.
Okay.
Yeah. The parasites are the people who were sucking into even Raila Odinga. Okay? Those who were sucking into Raila Odinga was merely a host. And I will tell you this because you've talked about 2022. The parasites are the ones who cost Raila Odinga the election of 2022. They are the ones who cost Raila Odinga the election of 2022. They are also the ones who twisted Raila into this broad-based thing. The broad-based thing was not Raila Odinga's idea. It was the idea of the parasites. Okay? The parasites, fortunately, are very few. They are very few. By the way, you all know them. Because you can count them. And Dennis, you know them. And you know them. The parasites are known. And they know themselves. And Kenyans know them. The parasites, they may be loud because they're overfed. You know when parasites are overfed? They can be very loud.
They show up.
Baba used to say, kupe. Kupe ananyonya, amenyonya ng'ombe alafu ananona. Now those parasites, right now they are very visible because they are full. They are full like that. But they are few, very few. The real supporters of ODM never went into that thing. They are still at the place where they are saying William Ruto is not an option for us because we have rejected him. All this time he was offering himself, we have been rejecting him. And many of them were even rejecting him more than they were rejecting Uhuru Kenyatta in the previous government. So they are asking, this is the person who we have always said is like this, like this, like this. Everything we have said about William Ruto, he has not changed. In fact, he has proved to us that we were right. So is there another William Ruto you have? Or you are going to bring us the same, you know, is there another one? Do you have a new one? Because if you have a new one, we can consider. But if it's the same one, you know, he's the one who used to say, iko mzee mwingine ama ni ile mzee akitendawili. Even us now we are asking, iko William Ruto ingine ama ni ile tu ya scandals and corruption. Today is International Anti-Corruption Day.
Yes, it is.
I mean, this country has become shocking with the level and intensity and frequency of corruption. It is the order of the day. You know, corruption has been there. But this is the only government that conducts corruption as a main business of government. You know, corruption used to be a side hustle for those other governments. But in this government, the running of the government is a side hustle, but corruption is the main business. You open the office in the morning, wapi yo tender, wapi yo, you know, that is their main business. So is that the William Ruto we are going to support? The one who killed our children? The one who has admitted, in fact, you know, when you say you're compensating people, you're admitting you're on the wrong. You know, the one who has weakened our passport, that today if we go to some of these countries, it is in your headlines. Our passport has to be scrutinized twice because they're not sure. You know, who is this Kenyan? Is this Kenyan a possible terrorist? You know, the one who has made has captured the state at the expense, you know, has made his personal interest, has put his personal interest above the interest of the nation, to the point where he will bring us possible terrorists to the country, to the point where we are hearing Sudan, crazy things that we never thought we would hear in this country. You know, that is not the William Ruto we are going to support. You know, and you know, the problem with not being principled, if you say one thing today, another thing tomorrow. So these same people, the parasites, some of them are very loud telling us how William Ruto is all those things. They were right. But then the question we're asking them, now you're telling us William Ruto is good. Is it, when were you lying? Were you lying then?
Or now?
Or are you lying now? But definitely you are lying. At one point, you're not being honest. But you know, we are not fools. They have said there's a shortage of fools in this country. So Kenyans will make the decisions that they need to make.
And yet, for those who follow, because the politics puts itself on a stage, and the people of Kenya are the audience, to see all of these things happening, to say, okay, in all of this, who's going to be the one that they will give an opportunity to then lead? Whether it is to retain the leadership that currently is there, or to give it into the hands of somebody else. And so those are the questions that people ask. Is somebody going to make a break? Is this party going to disintegrate? Are the ones who are at the helm of leadership going to continue steering the ship? What's going to be the case? And people are looking for answers. Or are we doing that politics where it says, you know, let's not really show you where the focus is, because then we want to detract our enemies? I mean, what is it really? Is there a need to say that ODM is going to live to fight another day? Or are the propagandists who saying, no, this one is on its way out? Who's right here?
Yeah. So first of all, ODM is a national movement. It still has a lot of support in this country. I believe that if ODM fields a presidential candidate, he will be a formidable candidate. And the last words of Raila Odinga was, who told you that ODM will not have a candidate? Who told them? If these people who are saying now we are supporting, who told them that ODM cannot field a presidential candidate? So the first thing is the people who will decide whether ODM will live beyond 2027, or it will just because parties also can collapse. Again, you know, being a movement, if it departs drastically from its core values, it will collapse. So in 2027, if ODM supports William Ruto, that will be the end of ODM, because maybe 80 to 90% of the core of ODM will leave ODM. Regardless, the parasites can keep a few of their semi-parasites. Parasites also have a way of perpetuating their parasitic
nature
tendencies
on each other.
Yeah, so they can keep those ones. But the majority, because I have a network in this country of the core grassroots of ODM. I am possibly one of the only few people who can pick a phone right now and talk to someone in Hispania, and talk to someone in Lokichar, and talk to someone in Amanga, talk to someone in Lamu. I have all the contacts of the core people in ODM, and they call me many times. And even that time when Baba was, this dalliance, he started this dalliance with, people were calling me, what is going on? What is happening? Can you people give us clear direction? And many of them are not happy with the way things are. And they will not go with ODM regardless of what direction it takes. They will only go with ODM if ODM retains its core principles. And the core principles of ODM are diametrically opposed to what William Ruto and his government stands for.
So it's a dicey situation where the country finds itself, and especially where ODM finds itself in, because you look at the top leadership of the party and everyone is speaking, everyone is speaking. But remember, like you said, the party ODM has never been about the leadership, it's about the people. You know, every other time whenever a decision is to be made, it is the people who make the decisions. Even before Raila Odinga himself decided to sit down with William Ruto, he went across the country saying he was to listen to the people would advise him on the decisions that he would make. But as we sit here today, you say you can easily pick your phone and call people at the grassroots. The core members of ODM, leave alone the leadership of ODM, the core members of ODM, where do they sit when it comes to broad-based government and 2027 politics? Are they for or against, or will they make a decision for them at that time in terms of tutapiga kura na akili zetu?
Yeah. So the core, unfortunately, you know, over time, because of certain factors, some of which I spoke about in my book, ODM has rewarded the wrong people. Okay, in terms of especially positions in the party. So it has rewarded betrayal. It has rewarded people who were being driven by personal interest as opposed to. So if you look at the core leadership of the party right now, I would say they're very self-interested people. They're people who are being driven by self-interest. So it is very possible and likely, and I expect that because there's politics, there's a type of politics that Baba used to call tumbocracy. Unfortunately for ODM, it drifted so much into that kind of politics, where it is no longer democracy but tumbocracy.
Yep.
And tumbocracy is very dangerous because you know, in my culture, the Maasai, where we come from, we say the stomach is a very dangerous thing. It's a very dangerous thing. It has even finished the bones around it. You know, it has eaten all the bones. So if you follow the stomach, it will take you to very dangerous places. Unfortunately, that right now, the leadership of ODM is being driven mostly by tumbocracy, something that we condemned for so long as ODM. You know, the stakes have been raised so much that people have now gone crazy. And people who yesterday told us how William Ruto was not an option, today are shouting at the tops of their voices. You know, they can't even speak like you and me, the way we speak. They have to shout because, you know, it is so personal. And, you know, the stomach is a very powerful thing. So when the driver of the conversation and the narrative is the stomach, it becomes, you know, people don't reason. Yeah, so the leadership of the party will, if they continue in the trajectory that they are on, they will take the party into this hole that it will never come out of. Because the people will bolt. The people will bolt. And the people will go wherever they feel they need to go.
And with all of this circus and fiasco, then where does the original idea of a development for the people, of convicting, you know, essentially afflicting the comfortable and comforting the afflicted, that ODM as a movement stood for under the auspices of Raila Odinga, that would fight for the people, that keep the government in check, oversight the government, and not allow government excesses to be a thing of the day. It seems as though all of that is lost in all of this, that all the folks who are giving opinions saying that ODM will or will not survive, ODM can or cannot do this. What happens to those ideologies that seemed to have taken the day previously? They seem to be lost in all of this.
Well, it's not lost. You see what happens? They say power abhors a vacuum. And you know, power is not just power in government. Power is actually with the people. The government they only get donated power. The power is with the people. So the power that the people have to do those things that you've talked about, to check government, to do all those things, that power is still there because it is with the people. ODM and Baba, when he was alive, were only channels. The people were channeling that power through them. And right now, the people will channel that power either directly by themselves, as they did in 2024, or they will find the right channel to where to harness, that can harness that power. So the thing that encourages me, you know, people have never lost. Whenever people have gone against, you know, the power of the people has gone against the people in power, the people have never lost. The people have never lost. You know, when it is a quest for their freedom, their liberty, their rights, their aspirations, the people have never lost. Even when they have gone up against the strongest, mightiest foes or odds. You know, when the Americans were fighting against the British for their war of independence,
right.
The British government, the British Empire was the greatest superpower in the world. But a group of ragtag militia fought for 5 years and defeated the greatest empire where the sun never used to set. Okay? Mau Mau here had only machetes against the might of the British government, a government that had just won the Second World War against mighty Germany. You know, but they won. Mau Mau won because they were fighting for their freedom and their aspirations. Whenever the people have come, the power of the people has come against the people in power, the people always win. And that is what you're seeing, by the way, in Kenya, you're seeing in Tanzania, you're seeing in most of Africa, a bit of Uganda. I don't know how that will go. But the people, the only time the people lose is when they quit, when they give up. But as long as people are fighting for their rights, they will never lose. It's not possible.
You know, Raila Odinga, you look at what he embodied in terms of the people. He was big on the people. He was big on justice. He was big on governance. And that is what made ODM be what ODM is. Today, you look at how the party is, and one asks the question, are the people still front and center to how everything is being run? Because one would argue that once we got to government, tuko kwa serikali hadi mwisho, is it about the people or is it because of the positions? We are in broad-based until 2027 and beyond. Is it for the people? Is it about the people, or is it in terms of my personal ambitions? Has ODM lost that?
That's, Dennis, you see, that question is $1 million question, right? And it's a question that is a self-fulfilling and self-answering question. Because if Baba himself did not have those credentials, himself, forget even these other parasites now, we don't even know some of them, where they've come from. But if Raila Odinga himself had lost those credentials, he will have lost the people. The people are not subject to anybody. It is you first to do that which represents their aspirations. Then they follow you. So there is no way that the people will follow people who are not carrying their aspirations. That will not work. I will take you slightly back, even further in history, because I love history, because it tends to open our eyes to many other things. And sometimes I think some of these people who are raw consumers of raw intelligence need to try a little bit and consume history. Because if you consume history, you will understand what is, even the future, and even why we are going through what we're going through. If you take us back, there are people who are saying, oh, we have to be in government. We have to be in government. Government. Our brothers, and these are my cousins, the Luo Nation, formed the first independent government in Kenya. The independence government in Kenya was formed by the Luo and the Kikuyu, almost to the exclusion of other communities. They have always been in government. In fact, they had almost 50% of the independence government in terms of the cabinet. They had the first vice president, a powerful one, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. Now, there are people who are telling us government when they are only two, and they are not even real powerful people. They are told what to do. They can't even walk on the red carpet. They are pushed on off the red. These are people who are telling us to go to government. The Luo Nation has always been in government. When Jaramogi formed the first government with Jomo Kenyatta, he formed it on certain principles. When Kenyatta departed from those principles, Jaramogi walked out of that government that he formed. He walked out. So you have to let the principles and the ideals guide you. Jaramogi walked out of a government that he formed because the government had departed from his principles. If Jaramogi had died on the wrong side of history, as someone who had betrayed the people, Raila Odinga would not have been formed as Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga inherited what Jaramogi had. Going back even to your proverb, to your saying, Raila Odinga is a product of his father's conviction, because his father held true to his convictions. So when he died, Raila Odinga had a place to start from. And that is a powerful statement, and I'm sure everybody will have time to internalize it. So it is the principles and the ideals that are more important than anything else. This thing called government, today we form this one, tomorrow we say it's not. Even the one that we're going to form in the next government, because the people who are saying they have to be in government, they have to form government. Do you know William Ruto will not be in the next government in 2027? So if they want to form government, let them form the government that is going to be there, because there is no. Who told them that William Ruto will be in the next government? Who told them? He's in this government, fine. But who told them that William Ruto will be in the next government? It is the people of Kenya who will decide. It is the people of Kenya who will decide.
So then what we see that as these conversations are being had, that there's almost an ignorance or not even regard for what the people of Kenya, it's still cites about a few number of people seem to decide the destiny of the rest of the country. And many would say, well, that's just politics. That's just the way it is. That very, very few times do we actually see the people's voice taking center stage. Is that the way it's supposed to be?
I think, it has been like that in the past, but it has changed. The people now understand their power. The people have never understood their power. But we are in a generation, and that is a mistake that the people in power are making now. They are dealing with the people as if these are the people that they have dealt with all these other years. The people now, and this seems to be a universal matter.
Yeah.
There is a certain awakening that has happened worldwide, that people have understood their place and their power. And they have also understood something, and especially Kenyans. Kenyans for the first time have understood how politics impacts their lives directly. And so they will not allow politicians with their chicanery and shenanigans to just take them, for a ride. They will not allow. If Raila Odinga had not stepped in to save William Ruto was gone, and it was the people. It was the people who told him to go. It is only Baba who came and became a savior, in the wrong at the wrong place, at the wrong time. And these people were people who are coming to advance the same principles that Baba has stood for all these years. So anyway, some of us we of course have expressed our disapproval to even the positions that Baba in his last days took, because the people are supreme, because the people can never be wrong. When the people decide that this is the direction they want to take, it is their decision, because it is their destiny. You cannot force them into a direction they don't want. You cannot force them. Yeah.
When we hear we will be in government until 2027, and you read that together with the final statement that was ostensibly the final statement, who told you that ODM, we are ODM, who told you that would not be in the ballot come 2027? Is it a question of individuals who are taking advantage of the fact that the money is not there? Is it individuals who are afraid of the people? Because many politicians, especially in ODM, held on the court of Baba for them to be relevant, pretty much. With the man not being there, are we seeing a shift that would happen, especially within ODM, that finally individuals must go back to the people, convince the people that they deserve to be elected into these positions? Because finally, there is no question that Baba amesema. It is us, the people, who will say. So that fear a reality?
It is a reality. It is a reality. The people who are holding on to Baba's courts or tail courts, coattails. The people who are holding on to his coattails, they are the parasites we are talking about. So now they have gone to hold on to someone else's coattails. They cannot survive without holding into some coattail. They have to hold onto someone's coat. So they have never been about the people themselves. Themselves, they have never. The party has been, because the party I told you, the party was a movement before it became a party. So the party was driven by the people from the beginning. And Baba was a vehicle or the driver of that movement. So the people themselves, there is no confusion as to where the people want to be. The politicians who you see like the drivers now, they're being driven by other things. You know, the democracy that we were talking about earlier. And those ones will go the direction that their interest takes them. But the people will not follow them.
Right. There's something that you said which is sensitive and it might make people go a little bit wonky, but we're going to say it anyway, is that one of the things that you said is that the relevance index, or there was some dissatisfaction in the hearts of the people with Raila Odinga joining the broad-based government. And you said that he'd lost some mileage that he had made over the years. Is that still the case?
Yeah, I'll tell you something, as someone who studied, I took time to study Raila Odinga. In fact, my book is a case study of Raila Odinga and William Ruto, because I took time to study both of them. I worked with both of them, by the way. One of the things that Raila Odinga valued more than anything else was his legacy. His legacy. And I will tell you, Baba went to the grave knowing that his legacy was tainted. He went knowing that his legacy was damaged. I know, beyond any equivocation or beyond any prevarication, I know beyond any shadow of a doubt that Baba was planning to rectify and to manage that damage, to do some damage control. He was hoping that he would have time to make that turn back to the people. Unfortunately, he didn't have the chance to do that. But I know that he knew. Even the sister told us that he was saying, "You young people, Baba died knowing that you hate him." I will tell you that is a very painful thing. When I heard that, I was very pained, because I also know how Baba loved the young people of this country and how they loved him. So for even Baba to know that his dalliance and association and unholy alliance with William Ruto has caused him so much, has caused so much problems between him and the people, that was a very sad, turn of events. But I know that Baba was planning to correct that, to correct that in the end. I know he had a plan to do that. And we forgive him, because he's our father. We forgive him. But his legacy will remain dented by that. It was the greatest blot to his legacy.
And with that dent, because Raila the person was ODM and ODM was him. And with that dented legacy that you talk about, and where Kenyans, because if him as a person and his legacy was destroyed based off decision that he made in his final days, then one would say even where we sit today, then ODM has lost its legitimacy from the people, in the sense that the people do not trust that outfit anymore based off decisions that were made earlier. And with that in mind, what will it take for ODM to reclaim its position? Especially bearing in mind that even the party itself is not helping the situation, because it is divided. Who will we listen to? Fine, we'll talk about it is the people who make the party, but the people who make the party as well need leadership, those who will guide them. And with a clearly divided party, do the people trust this outfit to lead them to Canaan that Baba never took them to?
I like your questions. I like you guys. You ask questions that have the answer inside. I like such questions. Those questions are very good. In fact, if you are an examiner, your students will always pass. But this is the thing, it's not all doom and gloom. Even in ODM and even in this country, I have a lot of hope that this country is actually just on the brink of a great future. It's right at the doorsteps of its potential as a country. These are birth pains of something new that is being born. What you're hearing, what you're seeing, the pain that people are going through, those are just birth pains of something glorious that is about to be birthed. Now, to answer your question, ODM what gives me hope even in ODM is that there is still, there's always a remnant. We've talked about the parasites. Even in the leadership of ODM, there is a remnant that has not bowed to the pressure of the stomach. There is that remnant that remained true to the people. In this, I'm talking about the likes of Edwin Sifuna, the senator of Nairobi, the Secretary General of ODM. I'm talking about the likes of Babu Owino. I'm talking about even Winnie Odinga herself, because I have seen that even though she's walking a tightrope and it's a balancing act, I have seen where her heart is. I know these people very well. I know all of them. I have seen. I can tell even when they say something, and I can see what they are not saying. So those people who have stood with the ideals of the party, the Edwin Sifunas, there's someone I would not want to leave. He's been very consistent. Caleb Amisi. The Caleb Amisis of this world. Caleb Amisi is not even a high-ranking member of the party. He's an MP. But because of the position he has taken, he has risen in the eyes of the people to a very high-ranking position in the party. That's what tells you that if a normal member of the party can be raised by the people to where, right now, if Caleb Amisi goes to a function with one of the parasites, he will take charge of that function, because the people are with. Once you stand for what the people want, that's it. It's not rocket science.
Right.
So the hope of ODM remains in the few of these who have refused to follow the parasitic formula. The few who have stayed with the people, but they have to be more courageous. I've watched them; they are being overly cautious. Leadership is not about being cautious. Leadership is about being courageous. When you take a position, take it. And say it, and don't have this prevarication of today you're showing this. Just take a position and let it be.
Let it be.
Yeah, because the people don't like confusion. So let these guys take the position that because it is a popular and right position.
It's days to come. It's going to be interesting to see how it all is, but it was interesting to hear, from you. And of course, looking forward to where you put yourself coming into the future. We won't ask you now. We'll wait and see.
It's too early. It's early days.
Lawyer Saitaba Ole Kanchori has been with us this hour. Thank you for being here with us and for coming out of hiding.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll see you next time when we do. Good morning. It's 9:01.
Thank you.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is the News Wire. I'm Leah Ubaga. Auditor General Nancy Gathungu has reiterated that Kenya has the capacity to finance its budget without borrowing additional funds. Speaking at the launch of the government's financial report, Gathungu said corruption and high taxes are major obstacles to the government's ability to revive the economy. She also criticized the high level of national debt and the interest charged on the debt. Gathungu also spoke about government projects that are not being completed despite billions of shillings being allocated for the projects. And moving on.
We all recognize that debt is not merely about numbers on a spreadsheet, but it is about the quality of life of millions of Kenyans. And as Honorable Makau said, not just the current millions of Kenya, but also the future generations. And it's about the integrity of our democratic institutions. And further, the World Bank report on Kenya's public finance review in 2025 notes that interest payments on loans now crowd out spending on many important public services, including social protection for the poorest members of society and flagship government programs like universal health coverage and education, which are inadequately funded. Due to poor budget implementation, we have projects that have spent public funds, but there is no use of these assets. In 2023-2024, the national government had 35 stalled or delayed projects worth 38.2 billion, while 7.85 billion had already been paid for these projects. In the same period, County governments had 688 delayed projects worth 23.3 billion and 248 stalled or abandoned projects worth 20.1 billion. Further, counties had 40 projects which had been completed but had not been put to use due to poor planning, lack of equipment, incomplete works, and governance failures.
A section of the Mombasa-Malindi highway is expected to open to motorists within the next few days as authorities prepare to ease heavy traffic during the festive rush. The Kenya National Authority has said that partial opening aims to reduce congestion on the increasingly busy corridor as holiday makers head to the coast. Kenya officials noted that the move forms part of the broader traffic management plan developed in collaboration with the police, county transport marshals and the authorities' own team. Engineer Anthony Omach said the priority is to make the main carriageway operational before attention turns to the service lanes. Detectives from the DCI Land Fraud Investigations Unit have arrested a man of attempting to fraudulently acquire a prime parcel of land worth 200 million in Karen, Nairobi. DCI say the suspect allegedly forged a deed of gift and land transfer documents to unlawfully claim ownership of the property in the upscale suburb. The deceased owner had inherited the property from her late mother. Investigations revealed that the suspect, identified as Beniko Tieno, had created falsified documents asserting that the deceased had gifted the land to him. Detectives compiled evidence and forwarded the file to the ODPP, which approved charges of forgery and uttering false documents, and the suspect is expected in court today. And finally, a man was found dead with stab wounds he is believed to have inflicted on himself in a suspected suicide mission in Suna, Migori County. The incident happened after the man's 1.5-year-old daughter died in hospital following a disciplinary attempt that went wrong. The body of Kennedy Omondi was found lying in a house with stab wounds in the left ribs. Police concluded the stab wounds were self-inflicted and in a suicide mission. That's the News Wire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
A very good morning. We're at 7 after 9 o'clock. I have to remind you about a couple of things. Now, you want to ask me what that is? Wacha nikwambie that if, as we get into the time where you'll be planning, you know, Christmas is coming. People are saying, okay, the year has come to an end. It's been good. It's been all right. It's been such and such. I want next year to be different. You know, I want to be able to put my plans in place. I want to be able to follow through on my ideas. I don't want anything to hold me back. And you have people who've planned. There are people, do you know, there are people who've planned. They know what they're going to be doing in the next 10 years. They know every shilling or dollars and cents that's going to be applied to a particular project. They know what they're doing.
Even when they die.
Yeah. They've got it all pretty lined up. And there are people who say, you know, my daughters, my sons will go to these schools and we've prepared in advance. This is what they're going to do. This will yield this at this time. And then you're feeling, when I grow up. Well, let me tell you, it's okay because you can actually have it done. We'll end this with we'll talk about optimism, that you can actually have it done. You don't need to worry about this, that you don't need to say, okay, tomorrow I will. We're saying today you can decide that you will make that plan. And the great thing about ICA is that it says it will tailor-make according to what you're thinking that you want to do. So you're going to sit down with people and you say, okay, you know what? I want to be able to do 1, 2, 3 by the time 10 years is over. And they'll say, okay, how much do you have? Or what are the things that you know you can do? Let us put this together for you. Let's arrange it so that it can actually work. And you don't have to then worry about, okay, so then who will help me? ICA Line are the folks who are going to help you keep all things in check. So what you need to do is say, what's your plan? What's your plan? And the folks at ICEA Lion will answer that question for you. So you need to go trotting into icealion.co.ke, your plan into reality, because these good folks know how to do it. They've been doing it for a while now, and they can get you to that place where you'll be comfortable doing it. So what are you waiting for? Click in, log in, get your plan on today.
But even as you're planning, let me give you another plug.
All right.
Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Dennis Aseto. For you to be able to do that, is because you need a data bundle that will enable you to do that. So we're talking about a data bundle that is unlimited and affordable. So for 1 hour, you spend 19 shillings. For 3 hours, you spend 45 shillings, unlimited data bundle that will enable you upload heavy files and even download heavy files, and your life is what? Nywe mambo telezi in an easy way. You know what I mean? Yeah, but this is Airtel that is coming here with its fun unlimited bundle. And how do you get it? *544# or you go to Your My Airtel app, or you visit your nearest Airtel shop and buy the SIM card to be able to purchase this data. Now, in life, there are many instances where it is fear of missing out. You want to be part of a conversation, you want to be part of a birthday celebration that you've not been able to attend because you are away, and you want to join it by streaming. You want to attend your daughter's graduation as a doctor in the US, you know. You don't want to miss out simply because data bundle will let you down. What is your story? Talk to us across our social media platforms, and we will pick that story on FOMO that happened to you, and we will give you 3,000 shillings worth of airtime courtesy of Airtel. And remember, join, subscribe, like, comment, and share
on socials.
And then Flavier will get to you.
Fantastic.
Exactly.
All right. So we know that you're going to be looking for something extra to eat this Christmas season.
Tell me.
Or you're looking for something that you want to gift somebody this Christmas season. Why not take advantage of the fantastic offers at a Naivas near you this season? So Naivas Kikwetu is lengthening this festive season, where you get to enjoy the massive discounts that are happening. So you need to drop everything that you're doing. And it's a final call from Naivas. It's the biggest savings event of the year. It was Black November, but we're stretching this well into December. And we're saying the time is now, that you can save up to 60% off across every single category: electronics, fresh food, kitchenware, daily essentials, and more. We're talking about massive, unbeatable prices. So we're giving you everything from iron boxes to toasters to blenders and heaters every week. And there's a big one: 45 motorcycles and 6 brand new cars, plus TVs, fridges, cookers, and much, much more. As in, what are you waiting for? If not that the show has not finished, even me, I'd be nervous by now. But it's so simple. Register for your loyalty card, do your shopping, and if you win, the winning will be printed on your receipt the moment you pay. So this festive season, take advantage of Lipa Pole Pole and the convenient buy now, pay later option. You can also use Faraja on M-Pesa for 0 interest installments. So you can shop more and pay less. And that's just the Naivas way. Now, before I go, this one thing about this guy. You know this guy?
That's what I was waiting for.
He bleats for a living. The icon is returning. Get ready, because the one, the only, the Naivas Kikwetu legendary Mbuzi is also coming. You want to know how you can get a bite out of that? You need to join CEO on the Spice Drive this evening and every other evening to find out how you can tap into that.
Don't ask me for Mbuzi. Now you know where to go.
There you
your
go.
Own
Naivas saves you money. Absolutely. And so those are the things I would want you to do tukimaliza tu hivi 10:01, we know where to go. Sawa sawa. All right, we're getting into another conversation this hour, and now that you know what to do with your money, with your time, and also with your discounts, the KCB to Njeri program is one that is headed and moved by the KCB Foundation, and we're having conversations into that this hour. Joining us in the hot seat of the Situation Room at this hour is Joyline Aburi Omari, who is the head of programs at the KCB Foundation. Good morning, Joyline.
Morning, Do.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. Good to be back here.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Good to see you. The year is coming to an end, but that means that as people wake up to the new year, there's going to be a lot of questions that need to be answered in terms of what they're going to do into a career, into education. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Dennis wants to welcome you with today's proverb.
Today we're in Nigeria. Yeah. Specifically speaking to the people of Yoruba. Yeah, Yoruba speaking people. And this is the proverb. Where you sit when you are old reveals where you stood when you were young. How would you interpret it?
Wow. I wish I was there. But from Kenya, my understanding of that proverb is that the kind of choices you make while you are a young person reflects on you or on your well-being or on your status as you grow up. That is my interpretation from Kenya.
What you do today will be seen in the future.
Yes.
Nice.
Okay. All right. The KCB to Njeri program is no guest or visitor to us or mystery to us. But we want to know, again, just by way of reminder, before we go into, specifics of the development program and how things may have changed, what is KCB to Njeri? What is that program?
So KCB to Njeri program is a youth empowerment initiative that was started in 2016. The main focus is to address the issue of youth unemployment in the country and across East Africa, where KCB has a footing. So the program focuses on skills building, entrepreneurship support, as well as linkage to markets and access to credit. So we enroll participants straight from those who need those skills through scholarships. We also encourage those who are running businesses to also enroll with us to get entrepreneurial skills, enabling them to expand their businesses. But most importantly, we are able to link them to the bank to also access credit that enables them expand their business ventures while creating employment opportunities for the young people. Yes.
Okay. So when you talk about the young people, who's eligible?
Our main focus when we talk about the young people is those who are aged between 18 to 35.
Okay.
But doesn't mean that we are also leaving out those who are above 35. We also have programs that are specifically targeting those ones. But Njeri main focus is those aged between 18 to 35. And the reason why we are really interested in this age category is because we understand that this is actually the prime. And as you just talked about the proverb,
yes,
that whatever you do or whatever kind of decisions you make while you are young reflects on you as you grow up. So this is a very prime age. So if you make the right decisions at that age, we ensure that you will prosper in your life. We'll be able to change communities. You'll be able to support livelihoods, support your family, and at large support the community's overall growth.
As you talk about investments into the young people, right? So here now, the next question would be, which would be the sectors that you're tapping into? Like, I'm a young person, I'm out of high school, maybe I'm unable to go to college, or I'm in college but I don't have a job. So then, how do you tap into them, and in what sectors are you focused on?
Yeah, so we support young people in various sectors, largely in construction, in manufacturing, in automotive, ICT. We also do what we call personal care and beauty, support on catering, as well as hospitality. We also support in agribusiness, a very key sector in this country. We support so young people in creatives. And we have seen a lot of demand coming from young people around creatives and ICT, and we support young people in that area. How you are able to enroll to the program is we normally run recruitment drives on a rolling basis throughout the year, inviting young people to actually join the program. And once you are able to see those adverts going through our social media, going through our websites, you can be able to enroll. We have partnered with counties. We have partnered with the NGCDFs across the country. We have also partnered with various sector players, private sector as well. So we are working with all partners who are actually interested in empowering young people. Yes.
How have you seen that this has impacted on people? Give us some of the things that you've seen that have been done through the Njeri program and how it has affected people.
No, yeah, I think it's very interesting, and the kind of lessons we are getting and the kind of lives that are being impacted there outside there for young people. We have seen several young women actually now taking up skills on personal care and beauty. If you look at the most beauty parlors across the country, some of those young people have actually gone through our program. They are able to earn a living now. And most importantly, is that besides just getting the earning capacity out of that skill, they are able to take care of their families. They're able to take their children to school. They're able to take care of their health, as well as taking care of their parents as well. And besides that, you understand that the community, for it to grow, we need leaders. We need leaders who have a purpose, who have a focus. So the program also supports young people to have what we call leadership skills, enabling them to actually contribute to the growth of the economy. You will see across the country, if we have there's a quite large number of young people. If actually you walk across the town during weekends, okay, who are taking photographs in town, those are young people who have come through to Njeri. We have skilled them in photography. We have skilled them in beauty, and they're able to support themselves through that skill.
Yeah. So, you see, I remember there's a while back we were having discussion with some of Njeri success stories, those that have gone through that. And one thing that stood out is the fact that it is not just that you're getting here to get a skill, but there is the aspect of being mentored. There's someone who holds your hand and takes you throughout the entire process. And with that, you find that an individual gets in knowing very well in terms of my deliverables, because it is a competitive process, and just the fact that you have someone holding your hand and showing you the ropes in the industry and how to go about it is important. And one asks the question, why did Njeri, KCB Foundation, take that route in terms of you have applied, you are successful, and even while at that, we will hold your hand to ensure that you become a success story?
Yeah, when you realize that mentorship is a key component of growth and support, and quite a number of young people actually are starting businesses, but they don't have mentors who are supporting them through that journey. One of the key aspects or key skills when running a business is the skill of resilience. Okay, and for you to build resilience, because businesses have ups and downs, you need mentors who can be able to walk you through that journey. Okay, that sometimes business can be good, sometimes business can be challenging, but that's the nature. At long last, the business keeps on growing. Okay, so mentorship is key, not only in businesses, but also even in the journey of self-employment. We have quite a number of young people who have employed themselves. Okay, but they need mentors. How do they use the money, the small money they get every other day, because they don't earn a salary? It's a daily income. How can they save? Okay, so that they can be able to grow themselves and be able to expand. So mentorship is key. The program actually has mentors across the country, especially those who are running businesses. We are able to mentor those young people. They're able to join our KCB Biashara Club. They're able to join our KCB Flame program. All those platforms enable them to, one, build some resilience, two, access networks. Because it's one thing to start a business, but then it's another thing actually to know where to get the supplies, to know where to get the market. Okay, because businesses is a controlled environment. It is about who knows who. Where do I get this at a cheap rate? Where do I sell this at a good profit? So building that network is through the mentorship program, and that is very key as we grow businesses in this country. Yeah.
So how do folks get into the program? Because, we can talk about them. We've had, we've listened to the testimonials. We've heard about people who've been through the program. They've come out of it and then been able to set up their own businesses or enter into, a solid career. Yeah. How do people get into the program? They may be making plans to get into it in 2026. How do they?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because we are actually going now to 2026. People are starting reflecting on what they have done and asking themselves how can they improve their lives in the next year. So to join to Njeri program, it's very simple. One of the requirements is to just have an ID. Okay? Then you are able, if you go to most of our websites or our social media platforms, we do run on rolling basis scholarships. You are able to apply online actually. The applications are actually online. You can be able to apply. We will reach out to you once we make the application. We send you an SMS that we have received your application and you are invited for an interview. Those are the ones that are seeking access to skills. But there are also those who are running businesses still, but they also want to join the program for mentorship. They want to join the program for the entrepreneurial skills that we're talking about. We also run rolling scholarships or rolling applications every other month. And still these young people running business can actually apply, and we'll reach out to them. And we invite them. We send an SMS that we have received your application. We will be able to reach out to you. Okay. We work with partners across the country because youth employment requires all of us working together. We have partnered with counties across Kenya. Those are also other avenues you can be able to reach us through applying. But also, we have KCB branches across the country. Okay, you can walk into a KCB branch, ask about the Njeri program. You are able to know how you will be actually be told the steps you will take for you to join the program. Yeah.
So you see, the beauty about the Njeri program is the fact that you have partners, right? So here is, you have the GIZ, you have NGCDF, you have NITA. And the reason why I'm talking about these partners is because when you talk about scaling even further, there are these other institutions who would give that which KCB does not have, but it's through working together that this now becomes a success. And you talk about these partners and look at NITA and the certification that comes after the fact, and this not only just assures that this person has gone through the rigorous process, they're now fit, but it is a document that I can come and say, Joyline, these are my credentials, come uko na job, nipatie. Just so, in an aspect of just looking at that, how has that changed the game in terms of individuals who are out here and have something to show that they are qualified?
Actually, we to Njeri is mainly focusing on you getting the skill, but most importantly, can you be certified?
Yes.
Because jobs are outside there. Most important thing is, do you have a certification to show that you are actually qualified? Okay. Another thing is, skills change, demands change, the market changes. Continuous improvement and certification is necessary. Okay. We believe that those who have gone through our program and have been certified, their earning potential actually goes up. Okay. If you go to a construction site, the first thing the foreman will ask you, do you have a certificate? Okay. That's the only way they can prove actually you are skilled. Okay. We have gone an extra mile as to Njeri to support even young people with toolkits, so that if you are going to open up a hairdressing parlor, okay, or shop, okay, we also provide you with toolkits to enable you actually kickstart that process. If you are a plumber, for example, okay, we know what the plumbing trade requires, so we give you a kit So once you go through our program, you're given a kit, you join the market straight. Okay, and you are certified. So you are very, very well equipped. Okay, if we look at the current market rate, if you are if you don't have a certificate, traditionally we call them mtu wa mkono.
Yeah.
Okay, you are only paid 400 shillings or 500 shillings per day. If you are a fundi, what we normally call fundi, okay, meaning you are a certified artisan.
Yeah.
Okay, you're earning potential moves to 1,500 per day. So the importance of skilling and getting the certificate is key because it actually improves your earning potential. Also, it provides confidence for the person who's giving you the job because then they know that they're dealing with someone who actually has the skill. They have a way of proving. Okay, and you are paid equivalent to that skill as well. Okay. The reason why people are underpaid is because they are not able to show that they are actually skilled or certified. But if for example, I have a problem with my kitchen, and you tell me I'm a plumber and I'm been certified by NITA, actually, I'll think twice when I'm trying to think how much do I pay you. You get? So the importance of skills and certification is very important.
So we're saying that what it does is actually, if somebody does show you a certificate, that the likelihood of you to value their service to pay more for it then increases?
Correct.
Okay.
Because then you are sure that you are dealing with a credible person, someone who's certified, someone who has a skill. Okay. So that is actually and that is the mindset that is outside there. Okay. People have jobs, but they are asking, whom do I give? How do I prove that they have the right skill?
Yeah.
Let's talk about partners that you work with. The GIZs, MasterCard, NGCDF. How critical are they in the success of the program?
Yeah, the issue around youth unemployment is a big issue, a big problem. Actually, it's a big challenge to the country. And every other year we are channeling out young people out of high school. We have quite a number of young people who actually drop out during the education process from maybe at high school level or at the primary school level. All these young people need skills so they can join the market, the job market. Okay, we believe at KCB Foundation we cannot be the only ones who can handle this problem. We need more players. One of our partners, critical partners, MasterCard Foundation, they are really interested to see that young people are able to live a dignified life by earning something. We have GIZ also as one of our partners who are supporting young people to actually get skills. And we are talking about actually up-to-date skills. We are talking about solar. We are talking about green economy, green businesses. So we're talking about partners who are also bringing more value. The importance of private player partners is key because they support the program in helping these young people to get internship opportunities, attachments, and work placements. We have several partners who are working with that are enabling our young people to get the experience while they are still undergoing training. So we believe through these partnerships, we are able to scale. The reason why Njeri is actually working very closely with the government entities, both at the national level and the county level, is to look at the resources that are available, both from the private sector, from the development world, but also from the government. Okay, because the government is a big contributor. So we are able to partner with those counties, asking them, invest in youth empowerment. We also invest. So we do a matching concept with them, with the counties. We do a matching concept with the NGCDFs so that we can be able to get more resources because the need is there. If we run an application, because now this December, the young people should actually watch out. We are running applications across 9 CDFs in the country. We are running application for Suna East, Suna West, Moroni, Matayos, North Hor. You see, Kinango, those are currently actually running. Okay, the number of applications we get is so big, we are not able to meet that demand. So that's why it is important for every other partner. And this is a rallying call that every other partner needs to come in, whether the private sector, whether the public sector, so that we can be able to address this issue and support young people to actually gain a skill, to actually run businesses and grow our economy. Yeah.
Okay, so which institutions then take on these courses and how does it actually work? So when they apply for the Njeri program and it's 6 months, of training in a skill. But which institutions are they going to? And if you have applications in Migori, Tsuna East, wherever the case may be, are they in institutions within those counties?
Correct. Tujajiri is really the last mile program for scaling. And we are positioned in that way that that's why we have partnered with counties, because counties, they are the ones running what we call village technical centers, VTCs. That is a center that is nearest. It's a walking distance to your village, within your village. Okay? You are able to access that skill within that village, meaning we are able to reduce your cost of actually getting the skill. We are working with national TTIs across the country. Our partnership with the CDFs is that in each constituency, there is a national TTI that is linked to the CDF. Okay, so in Suna East, there is a TTI within the constituency. So these participants who are going to get this scholarship will go actually within their constituency and access the skills. We're also working with other private partners across the country. Okay, we have partnerships with the likes of Vera, with the likes of Ashley's, with the likes of Kibondeni. All those are partnerships that enable young people to actually get the skill next door. Okay, so that is why it's important to have this kind of level of partnerships, so that we make skilling to be affordable. Okay, skilling that actually is responsive to the young people's needs. Look at the young girl who was a child. How do you tell them to move away from their home to go to a different place to get a skill? Where do they leave their child? That's why it's important we are saying, let's have these partnerships closer to the young people where they are, closer to the villages. Yes.
Remember, there's this individual we were talking to. He was a beneficiary, and he used to work as mtu mkono, as an electrician. And through the program, after graduating, he managed, so he continued working here for this guy for a while, but now because he was certified, he started getting better pay. And because he was also being mentored, he started saving better, and he started his own shop, electrical shop. And through that, he became an entrepreneur. So he had his own gig as well, where he started running his company, going to people, doing electricals. And this speaks of the success that is Tujajiri, right? And when we talk about that, so we have how many have gone through the program, how many jobs have been created, if these are statistics or numbers that you do have.
Yeah, so the program is really impactful. And since we started the program, close to 40,000 young people have received scholarship opportunities to get skills. Over 37,000 young people who are running businesses have been mentored. They have gained capacity building around business development services. We have actually supported the access to credit to the tune of 2.3 billion for those young people who are running businesses with support from KCB Bank.
2.3 billion.
2.3 billion. So that is the kind of the level of impact that this program is having. And through that support, over 150,000 young people have managed to actually get job opportunities. And that is the scale of the program.
How do you monitor if the program has been successful? If the 6 months through which one then is in class and getting practical learning and knowledge, and then they come out, is success getting a job? Is success starting a new business? What is success of the program, and how is it measured?
Success for the program is looked at two levels. And the first one is, are you able to get employment? Are you going to get a job? Whether self-employment or a direct employment. Okay, meaning you are able to earn something. But we follow through. What are you doing with that fund or money that you're actually earning? Very important for us. Are you able to improve your life? Are you able to create jobs for others? Are you able to actually pay school fees for your family, for your children? Are you able to support your family through that skill, through that opportunity? Another way we are looking at success is for those businesses that we provide business development services. is the resilience we are able to pay. One of the critical issues that we are dealing with is the issue of young people starting business and closing within 1 year. Okay, 90% of the business that start close within 1 year. Okay, so the resilience that we actually build through the program is one of the successes we look. How many of our business that we support are actually able to sustain themselves for a longer time? Okay, so that is very important because we believe by young people starting businesses, they're able to create more jobs so that we are able to meet the demand that is actually coming every other year. We have 1 million young people joining the job market every other year who require jobs. So we believe through businesses is the easiest and the only way we can be able to address this issue. So the importance of having a thriving business sector is very important. Okay, people who understand how to run businesses, how to model them, how to grow them is actually very important.
Okay, so you mentioned 37,000 people who've gone through the program.
40,000 for scaling, and then we have supported 37,000 businesses.
Okay.
Yes.
37,000 businesses supported, 40,000 who've gone through the scaling. Are you able to, do you see from those numbers how many people have entered into, whether it's employment, started their own business? Are you able to see from that percentage?
I talked about in terms of those who are earning out of our support is close to 150,000.
Yeah.
These are young people who have jobs that can be attributed to
the program. Yeah, so you can see the direct line between the two. Okay.
Yes,
yeah. Okay. So now based on that, and if you take some steps back, that if you look at the broader society where we talk about job and lack of jobs, unemployment being an issue, does it affect then the kind of programs that you set up? Because you've mentioned hairdressing, you've mentioned motor vehicles, you've mentioned mechanics, you've mentioned, photography along those lines. We've seen some of those things.
Yes.
Are these courses that you're given matched with the vacancies that there would be in society where you need certain things? So are you making the decision of what courses to offer based on what gaps there are in the society?
Yeah. So normally and that's why it is important to have partners. And when we are collaborating with these partners, we actually undertake research. Okay. And we also talk to the private sector, especially because private sector is the one that creates jobs. Okay, through our business arm, that KCB Bank, we are able to understand actually what the market requires, because these are people who are running businesses. Okay, they tell us, by the way, we need hairdressers. We need young people who can actually deal with Caucasian hair, for example, because we have seen a flux of tourists at the coast, but there's no skill around dealing with Caucasian hair. So we go back, recapitulate, then look at what college or what TVET can help us address this skills gap. We have updated market requirements. For example, the way we are doing ceiling for the house is different. Things have changed. These days talk about gypsum. Okay, the way we're doing our tiling has changed. Okay, that skill is what now we go take back to the colleges and tell them, this is now what the market requires. Update your curriculum. Okay, we're talking about now solar. Okay, it was never, no one talked about solar 10 years ago or 20 years ago. It's an in thing now. We're talking about running what you call green businesses. Okay, those are new skills that we actually take back to the schools, to the colleges, and then you have to update this. And that's why the mentors are very important, because the mentors talk about what they're actually doing, what the market requires. So they are able to talk about the actual need. If it's even the business, okay, you have to model your business to what the market requires now. So we are getting you a skill around hairdressing. But then when you go to the market, you need to know what does the market require. And that's why the mentors now also come in to support that journey.
To Njeri is to Kenya. KCB, one associated with Kenya. But when we talk about the foundation, we know KCB is domiciled in Kenya but has branches, right? And when you talk about skills, and especially being in a Jumuiya, the East Africa community, that would mean that a skill that I have in Kenya should be able to work in Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, you know. And with KCB then being a regional bank, and the foundation being there, do we have such programs in partner states, such that if I live here with the certification from KCB, if I go to Rwanda, I'm able to just show it up and have that backing?
Yeah. So the foundation, and Njeri is a flagship program for KCB Foundation. So it's a program that runs across the 7 countries where KCB has a footing. So when you go to Rwanda, we call it Ijire program. Ijire is to Jiajiri. Ijire is a Kinyarwanda word meaning to Jiajiri, self-employment. When you go to Burundi, we call it Itezembere. Okay, it is to Jiajiri, the same. So when you go to Tanzania, it's to Jiajiri. Okay, so this program, the skills that the young people actually get can be applied across East Africa. We have quite a number of young people who have come from Tanzania, who are actually doing jobs in Kenya. We have young people who are coming from Burundi, who can give their skills in Kenya here. So the skills that we provide are actually updated and required across that market. We have young people who are running businesses, for example, cross-border businesses. When you go to Uganda border in Malaba or in Busia, we have young people who are running business, what we call cross-border business. Okay, so and we support all that, whether you are in Uganda or you are in Kenya, because we know that once you build your capacity, whether you're in Uganda or you are here, you are able to grow, because this is a community. That's what you're saying. It's East African community. So we transform communities in East Africa, all over.
Okay. What happens if somebody wants to be given the opportunity to scale up? Can you do the Tujiajiri program twice?
So we normally say that Tujiajiri gives you what we call a boost or a kickoff. Okay, we give you the opportunity, the first opportunity. The kind of mentorship that you will go through, we believe that you will be able to earn a living. And we expect through the training, and that's why important, we will normally be mainstream decision making, allowing you, once you have the skill, you're able to upskill yourself. So we normally give you an opportunity once. We have tried also to give opportunities for upskilling, because we realize that there are those markets, new trends are coming in, so someone needs to be upskilled. So we also give opportunities for upskilling, but on a need basis. But Tujiajiri main focus, because the demand is high, for us let us give you the first boost. Then from there you're able to propel yourself, you're able to invest, and that's why the trainings around investments are very important, and savings. So you're able to invest and continue upskilling yourself.
You know, for a product that is so competitive, for a function that is so competitive, it goes to speak that it's just not anyone who would show up and get an opportunity. It is that competitive. But even while at that, then there are stopgap measures for those who've been given an opportunity, that as much as it is a scholarship, you must do your part. So it is not joyriding here. You're here to do the work. You'll be here to ensure that you become a success story that we want you to see. Just speak to that, to just the rigorous nature of this program. Yes.
So even from the onset, we normally, when you are running these applications or recruitment drives, we normally conduct interviews. And we try as much as possible to really understand why did you really apply for this scholarship? What is your purpose? What is your focus? How will you use that skill to improve your life? So it's a rigorous process and very competitive. Okay. Secondly, while you are still in the college or while you are running the businesses, there is a continuous follow-up. How are you doing? Okay. How is this improving your life? Are we seeing changes in the way you even look at things? Okay. So it's very competitive. It's continuous and rigorous monitoring, and that's why we insist the issue of internship as well, because through internships we are also we're able to monitor you. Are you applying the skill? If you are earning during internship. What are you doing with that money? Okay, are you using it to improve yourself? Are you using it to actually take care of your families? A rigorous process and it's a lifetime journey. When we say once you're into Tujajiri, you are a Tujajiri alumni and member. You move from skilling, you go to business development. From the business development, you join now what we call the Biashara Club for KCB.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a life membership for you to be in Tujajiri and in KCB.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long would you want this to continue? Because we also see that in society that the opportunities, or rather the need, far outweighs the opportunities, whether it's at education or then the work level. But with time, you see that the more you do, the more you're able to. Is this something that has a lifespan, or is it something that is there that you would want to keep there for as long as possible?
What I can say is that every program has an end at some point. But until we meet, until we see that we have been able to achieve what we intended to, that is when we can say now we can try to address something else. But as long as the issue of youth unemployment is still within the country, Tujajiri still remains very relevant. Okay, and we continue providing those skills. The issue of running businesses is key. The survival of businesses, the growth of businesses, okay, the profitability of businesses is key. And we cannot say that there's a time that businesses will be self-sustaining, that we don't have gaps around business development. So we continue supporting these young people until there is an improvement. And we'll continue, so long as the need is there. And what I can say, when you go back to 2016, Tujajiri then and Tujajiri now is very different. Because this thing keeps on, what I can say, changing. Okay, the employment sector keeps on changing. Okay, the business environment, business keeps on changing. So there will always be gaps. And that's why Tujajiri is always there to always address these changes. And it's going to change as also life changes, as the environment changes.
You mentioned earlier that whenever you have these individuals, even when you are now releasing them to finally go to the trades that they are taking, that you give them tools, and that is a boost in terms of they will focus on them doing well, and even when they get out, you give them what one would say is a starter capital. Go ye and shine, you know. And I remember back then, some of the partners you are working with, so I am into plumbing business, I want a drill, and you provide that for me. I am a mason, you'll give me a trowel. If I am into kinyos, you'll give me the machine.
Yes.
And how is that a game changer for an entrepreneur and a newbie who's getting into this world of being an entrepreneur and being a successful at it?
Toolkit is actually a game changer. One of the barriers to employment or self-employment is the issue of tools. Actually, you can have the skill, but because vocational skills is around artisan, being an artisan, meaning there's a tool that you're supposed to use to do the job. Okay, so if you don't have the tool, you can't do the job. Okay, that's why I brought in the concept of can we toolkit these young people as they complete their training, because it gives you a straight linkage to the market.
Yes.
Look at a plumber now. They can finish school, but because of the toolkit they require, it actually costs between 70,000 to 100,000. That is a big amount for a young person who doesn't have a job. Okay, so for him he has a skill. He saw the toolkits in college, but then when he goes to the market, he needs the toolkit so that he can be able to do the job. If he doesn't have the toolkit, no job. If he doesn't have the toolkit, anakuwa mtu wa mkono. In short, lower pay. You get? So we said let's give toolkits so that it accelerates your transition to work. So a plumber today, when they graduate and these toolkits are given competitively and they're able to get, tomorrow the only thing he needs is a phone and the toolkit. You see? And let me tell you, even for us who are giving jobs, if for you yourself, you require an hairdresser, okay, the young girls who do nail making.
Yeah.
We have young girls actually who walk to homes.
Mobile services.
Mobile services.
Yeah.
So they come with a
home service,
toolkit set. So that's how we are changing, and that's how the toolkit is actually changing the way we are doing business and creating employment. So they're able to come to your place with a toolkit. If we didn't give them that toolkit, then they will not come. You will be forced to actually go to where they are, and sometimes a challenge still. Yeah.
So what are the guarantees that somebody who then finishes the Njeri 6-month program and then is looking for funding to start their, business, what's the guarantee that they will be able to get the funding that they need? Because we also know that those who are contributing to the economy by way of, MSMEs, the biggest hurdle to that is access to credit, or finances, not just credit, but finance as a whole. What's the guarantee that they'll be able to get something? If this person is hell-bent on starting their own business because they know they can do it, they are now armed with the tools that they need in terms of knowledge and comprehension, and then they need something that's going to then establish that. What is the guarantee that they will be able to get it after should they apply?
The reason why we started the entrepreneurship component of Njeri, that is the business development services, was to ensure that those young people who have that vision, as you have mentioned, who want to run businesses, they are supported. I talked about businesses closing shop within 1 year. Okay, our role is to support these young people. Once they start the business, do they know how to manage their cash flows? Do they know how to do strategy, business strategy? What is their profit plans or strategies look like? Once we build that capacity, these businesses are able to grow. The bank comes in. Okay, they are able to actually evaluate these businesses. Because of the mentorship, because of the training, already these young people will have what the bank requires as a way of evaluating them to access financing. And that's why we have linkage very close to the bank. Because we believe we understand what the bank requires or what financials require. Okay, and we actually mainstream that kind of training and capacity building to address those barriers that actually lead them not to access financing. So once you go through that training, I can say comfortably that you will be able to be evaluated, and with certainty you are able to get a facility, because then we will have done what we call a de-risking approach early enough, enabling you to circumvent some of the issues that loans or applications that lead to declines. So with certainty, you will come out of the program knowing this is what the bank will require so that they can give me a loan. So you are prepared. And the lack of preparation for young people who are running business is what leads to loan rejections, loan declines.
And it's one of those things that's handled in the program, isn't it? In terms of how to then manage funds when you get them.
Yes. Yeah. How do you manage funds? Even how do you do an application for a loan? Okay. And how do you prepare your business for capital injection?
R&D is important. And you've mentioned the fact that when you're offering the training, you go to the market and you tailor make everything so that it fits to what the market requires, right? So this means having conversations with technical colleges, vocational colleges, so that they can tweak their curriculum to ensure that once this individual gets out, they are ready for the market. You've mentioned sealing, nowadays you do gypsum. So if you are doing it old school, there is no job for you. So how critical then it is to even have conversations on a larger scale, Ministry of Education, just so from the word go, because now we're talking about ECDE and we know the pathways that shouldn't be taken. Perhaps this is a larger conversation to be held so that even when you talk about partners, Government of Kenya, perhaps one of the bigger partners to come on board.
The government is actually a big partner for the Njeri program. And we believe through research and development, we're able to bring in what the market requires. I mentioned that Njeri, what Njeri was in 2016 is very different now. And those changes are informed by the leadership, or the thought leadership, and the research mostly with our partners. We collaborate very closely with the Ministry of Education, with NITA, looking at what courses they are providing, even the length of those courses. Okay. The reason why Njeri is designed to be a 6-month course is it's not just from anywhere. It's also from research that young people, because of the nature of all of young people, the gratification, what I can say, gratification.
Microwave gratification.
Gratification. Okay. A young person does not want to stay in school for 2 years. They have needs, and that's our environment. Things you have to have airtime. You have to have internet. That's the environment. That's how things have changed. Before, no one needs money to buy bundles. Okay, but this young person needs to communicate. He needs money. So 6 months design was to enable that we address the issues that are responsive to these young people. We don't need to keep young people for 2 years, 3 years in school while they need money to sustain for themselves. So we believe in research, we believe in partnering, and that's why key partners like MasterCard Foundation, key partners like GIZ, the Ministry of Education and NITA come in because they are the thought leaders around what is happening and what needs to change. Okay, even we go back to the CBE framework, we introduced the issue of ICT into Njeri. Okay, we have the KCB Scholars Program also that supports young people's scholarships in high school. So we are actually working with a broader ecosystem to address this issue. Yes.
Okay, so then even as you look at this program and what it's been able to do for people over time and what it's been able to do for young people, so you say there's a current call for applications going on. When do they start in this next batch?
So
and has joined us this morning. Thank you very much for doing so.
Thank you
and
so
of course,
much.
looking forward to the lives that can be changed as they get into this program into the future.
Thank you.
Thank you for keeping it the Situation Room this Tuesday morning, the 9th of December. More conversations coming to you. Enjoy the rest of your listening on Spice FM. Thank you. Dennis and Ndu saying goodbye. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Good morning at 10 a.m.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is the News Wire. I'm